What's going on, Wrestle Reaction, Living the Gimmick fans? You have joined us on this Sunday, March 26th, for a special live edition of this podcast. John Alba's going to take it away as I finish getting things set up for our show.
And I'm getting set up too. We are going to be headed live momentarily with the Living the Gimmick podcast. Today's special live episode is presented to my Barefoot Wine per usual. We will be previewing WrestleMania. We'll be previewing NXT Takeover. We'll talk a little bit about the WWE live event I went to in Portland last night. It was a lot of fun. And, yeah, it's going to be great.
Nerd.
Finish getting this up. Nerds. Right now with...
Funny story about that. We'll talk about that.
Yes. Review edition of Living the Gimmick. Tune in. And all the social media plugs. That's what we do here, folks. Okay, it's looking good on my end. We have just about everything there. And, you know, the best part about doing these live podcasts is Doug's going to be in the chat. He'll be able to check out stuff. So if you got some mail calls, some hashtag mail calls season 2, throw those in there or tweet them at us. We'll be monitoring Twitter as well.
That's
hashtag
right.
mail calls season 2.
I'll be all
at
over
Wrestle
the place.
At Doug O'Mac. I can hop on our Twitter machine as well. We'll be keeping an eye out.
The best place to be sending tweets right now would be at the LTG podcast. That's where I will be making sure I'll be looking at that more so than any other of the accounts, like Wrestle React _ Wrestle React. I'll be on at the LTG podcast for the most part. So if you want to tweet us there, if you're not getting in the chat room, then that's where I can see your stuff. But we want you to be part of the show, so make sure that you're tweeting us. Make sure you're a part of the chat room, WrestleReaction.net /watch. That way you can talk to us, give us your opinions on what you think is going to happen here this week.
Indeed.
Gear up, and we are, 7 days away.
Let me know when you're good, Duggo, and then we'll rock and roll with this puppy.
Absolutely. I like how you bring up rock and roll when there's a certain album that came out as an anniversary today or yesterday.
It's
today.
Past week.
Was this past week?
40 years.
Yes.
Pretty nuts.
I felt
there be. Well, you weren't alive.
No, I wasn't alive then. I was alive 10 years later.
You were alive yesterday. You were alive 10 years later.
I remember that record. My dad had the actual vinyl.
Ooh. Not the Aussie version, though.
No, not the Aussie version.
The Aussie version has Cold Hearted Man rather than Problem Child for the second time because they had to have 2 albums in a row with Problem Child on it.
That they did. Of course, that was the 70s, and that was a 70s move, a classic 70s rock move. Tons of albums that had the same things on them.
The International had Cold Hearted Man, but they pulled it for the U.S. release. Okay. You may see, by the way, folks. Are you ready?
Yeah, what? Go ahead and say what you were going to say.
I'll get it during podcast.
That's a sweet shirt you got on, John. Where'd you get that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to plug. I'll plug it during the broadcast.
Okay. Now I'm getting to your mail calls so I can see what we're going to have today. Hey, by the way, and now I'll say it on the show because I'm pretty sure our show is on Google Play. And we've gotten plenty of requests for it to get on Google Play, and I keep seeing a link to it. I keep showing up for me, so
lots of good stuff to talk about in this week's episode.
So there are already people in the chat room. Before we even get started, Ed, constantly in our shows and emails and all that good stuff, Ed says he feels musically smarter listening to us. So if there's one thing we're doing right, John, it's singing people's theme songs and singing songs awkwardly enough through our podcast where people actually feel smarter by listening to us.
We didn't get a single tweet about the Hell's Bells moment last week.
We got a Facebook comment.
Oh, we did? Okay, I missed that. That's good.
Benjamin Teacher sent us a message that said, "Oh my God, you literally just said AC/DC into Metallica. What's going on?"
Yeah, it was pretty great.
So yeah, it's probably like, and you said it on the podcast. You said this is the best part of the podcast. Turn it off after this. There's nothing that's gonna be better than this. I totally agree. Until we got down to the end and we were doing Nakamura's music, that was pretty sweet too. Might be
All
too.
We'll be ready to rock and roll here momentarily, folks.
Yep, in under 1 minute.
Under 1 minute.
Going live in under 1 minute.
We're actually live. We're live already.
You know what I mean? With the actual podcast.
You
know. Titus Brand in the chat says, Hell's gongs. No, Hell's bells. God.
That was good, though. Good joke. You paid attention in last week's episode.
That's right.
Just not Hell's dongs.
It's not Taker's dongs. You are correct. All right, let's see here. We are good to go, my friend. Anytime you want to start it up.
What episode we got here?
This is 86, right?
Oh, come on, we got to know. Let's see. See, I just downloaded the nifty.
We literally do this every single time we get on the show. We look at each other and we go, wait, what episode is this? I don't even know. I edit this thing every week and have to put what episode it is. I'm pretty sure it's 86.
I downloaded the nifty Podbean app.
Yeah, I have that too.
Okay. So this is episode 86. Here we go. Okay. It is time. Let's do this. Standing by.
The following podcast has been paid for by WrestleReaction.net.
So maybe I was
Wait!
and gobbledygook.
She's got catchy theme music, and she's always smiling.
The owner of a small dog rock and roll enthusiast. Never hurt anyone, right?
Oh, we're gonna have a little problem.
I wonder what he's eating, though.
I don't know what he's eating. Maybe whatever the buzzards are eating, if you will. So follow those. You'll find it. I would imagine that'd be very stinky. Maybe old shellfish. I don't know what's going on there. Not number 5.
Oh, jeez. How do we get away with some of this stuff? I don't even know.
That new intro flow, man. It's that new intro flow.
It is episode 86 of Living the Gimmick, a live edition of the LTG podcast on WrestleReaction.net. If you're listening to this after it already happened, well, hey, at least you're listening to it. Thanks, John Alba, Doug O'Mac. It is time for WrestleMania.
WrestleMania 33!
Your best Vince McMahon WrestleMania intro here. Go ahead. Now's your chance.
I just gave you part of one. I mean,
no, I was really give me a big 1997 Vince McMahon.
Hello, everyone, welcome to the show of shows, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania.
There we go. That's what I want to hear.
You gotta get all 3 levels of Vince's mic voice in there. You gotta get the first one, which is a high, nasally throat close. Hello, everybody, welcome to. And then he gets to the normal, calling a match, what a maneuver, and then evil Vince. So you gotta, hello, everybody, welcome to WrestleMania. That's how you want to do Vince's 3-tiered voice. That's how that goes.
It's pretty memorable, for sure. Welcome everyone to Living the Gimmick. We appreciate everyone who's taking interest in participating in tonight's live episode here on Sunday. What is today, March 26th? Had to check there.
I said at the start of the show, you don't even listen to this podcast, man.
We are really, look, man, my brain's fried.
It's a Sunday, dude. We're fried. We're just trying to get to Wednesday. We're just trying to get out of here.
That's exactly it. You took a 3-hour nap today.
I don't ever nap on a Sunday, ever. I work Sundays like 14-hour days. I hardly ever nap. And I got home, I sat down in my recliner, and before I even put food in my body, I was out for 3 hours. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because I took that long of a nap. It's not going to happen.
Got to get on that melatonin-ish or just watch WrestleMania 11. That'll work. Anyway.
Well.
Anyway.
So you see Jenny McCarthy and Pam Anderson, and then you go, oh.
That's true. We are going to be talking
Powerbomb.
We are going to be talking NXT Takeover Orlando, WrestleMania 33, some of the things we're going to be up to this weekend and this upcoming week. And man, it's just this is the best time of the year. And I haven't seen you guys since August 2015, so I'm stoked. I can't wait. We're going to be embracing. You're going to be making good food. I can make food now. I can cook. I just cooked up a mean chicken teriyaki with some pineapple and red bell pepper and some noodles. It was delish. I'm going to be cooking for you.
You're going to cook it for me this time?
Yeah, I'll cook for you, man.
You know you let the bigger dude cook because you know he knows how to. That's how that works.
You know. By the way, guys, if you're watching, you see I'm sporting this sick T-shirt. Doug, first off, where can they get that T-shirt? And second off, I hear there's rumors of a potential sale coming up.
You can get those shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/WrestleReaction. There's 4 different designs there. 2 for the LTG and 2 for Wrestle Reaction. One's a cross-promoted T-shirt, which is our highest seller that I wore on Wrestle Reaction last Monday. It says faces and heels and waists. Oh my. Those are also, of course, available for, I believe right now, $24.99 at Pro Wrestling Tees. But we have it on good authority that there is a go home to WrestleMania sale happening at Pro Wrestling Tees, I believe, beginning tomorrow. We should know more about this later tonight, probably around midnight. You'll start seeing some promo codes get flown out there by Pro Wrestling Tees because they're doing a WrestleMania week sale. So I do believe everything will be 15% off. If you're doing your math, that takes about $4 off of your shirt. So if you're trying to get a WrestleMania tee, if you will, which is one of the designs that we will have for next year, as long as we sell 4 more of these freaking shirts, because we have a cap and we can't put any more designs up until we sell these shirts. This is the time that we need you guys that are watching. If you have not yet purchased a shirt, please pick up one of these 4 shirts, because once these 4 of these 4 shirts go and we're golden, all we need is that to sell so that we can then unleash design upon design upon design upon design. You've seen me rock a Doug O'Mac in the form of Shane O'Mac tee. That's ready to go. We have Stop It tees from JT Pruitt, of course, ready to roll out as well. We have an Emmy award-winning John Alba shirt ready to roll. We have a Manzo Mania, but wait, there's Manzo. We have a ton of stuff ready to roll for you, and we can't get those out until you buy the ones that we already have on there. And this week will be perfect for you because it looks like you're going to get a 15% off promo code starting March 27th. Buy the shirt!
Pro Wrestling Tees /Wrestle Reaction. It's where it is, and get it now. Okay, before we talk WrestleMania, before we talk NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, I should probably give a rundown of this live event I went to yesterday. WWE came to Cross Insurance Arena in Portland. If you didn't get a chance, hop on my Twitter feed at John Alba. Hop on my Facebook feed, John Alba, multimedia journalist. I did an interview with Titus O'Neil earlier this week.
Hey, thanks for having me on there, John.
Titus was a good dude, and he and I talked WrestleMania. We talked the Titus brand, and we also talked Tim Tebow.
We talk about Tebow.
Him and Tim Tebow are besties. It was good. Thank you, Titus. Thank you, WWE, for providing me with that interview. Go check it out if you have not had a chance to do it yet. Again, Twitter at John Alba, JONALBA. So I had a chance to check out this live event, giving you a quick rundown of the show. It was a Raw event. And normally when you get these live events just before WrestleMania, they'll be trying out a lot of WrestleMania matches to run through them and see the kind of reactions they get. Well, on Raw, a lot of the guys who are going to be at WrestleMania aren't on the full-time house show circuit, so they're not able to do a lot of those. There was one match, however, that was a WrestleMania preview. Jinder Mahal and Big Cass started the night off. They had a 5-minute match. Big Cass won. Enzo and Cass were super-duper over. Jinder Mahal's body in person is unreal.
It's like we see
it on TV. It is unreal. This guy is jacked beyond belief. Good for him. Man, 1998 would have been a good year for Jinder Mahal. That's all I'll say.
How you gonna say that's a WrestleMania preview match?
No, it wasn't a WrestleMania preview. I'm saying there was. I'm running through the card. I'm running through the card.
I know. It just the way that came across was I even had to stop and think. I was like, wait, he just said there was one WrestleMania preview. There was one WrestleMania preview match, and it was Jinder Mahal versus Big Cass. I was like, no, what wasteful mania that would have been.
That's a Sunday Night Heat match. The Golden Truth and Curtis Axel beat the Shining Stars and Titus O'Neil in 10 minutes. Let me tell you about this match here. This match had the biggest babyface response I've heard genuinely in a long time for anyone, and it was Curtis Axel.
The Axeman.
Curtis Axel, from the moment his entrance hit, this arena was about 9,000 people, went nuts for him, and he's working babyface now. And from the moment he came out, huge Axelmania chant. And he's back to doing the Hulk Hogan shtick. Truth was going to start the match, but instead he tagged out and let Curtis start.
Well, did they do the Real American theme song, or
no? His theme.
Okay.
He's still wearing the cargo pants, but he hulked up, did the whole Hogan stuff. He's allowed to do that again, which should be a good indication of what's to come. And yeah, so Titus cut a promo after saying how it was going to be Titus Mania and Portland sucked, and then he demanded a new opponent. And who do you think came out for his next match for Titus O'Neil to face? Who do you think came out, Doug? I didn't tell you. Who do you think came out to squash Titus in a 45-second match?
Well,
you had to guess.
I had to guess, and it's not any member of the New Day.
Babyface crowd, not a member of the New Day. Nope.
Wow.
He's not. Nope. Sin Cara.
The faceless one. What?
Who's wearing like full body paint now? Like his arms are painted, or it's weird. You can check it out.
What?
Sin Cara came out and squashed Titus O'Neil in 45 seconds.
Waste Cara.
Did a couple moves, Swanton, and that was it. The crowd was chanting 0-2 at Titus, which was pretty funny. So then Austin Aries came out, and they announced a Cruiserweight Championship match was about to take place. Neville cut a promo saying that he didn't agree to defend the Cruiserweight Championship, but he would still go ahead and face Austin Aries. So this was your WrestleMania preview match here, Doug.
It's a big package. I had to do the whole thing. It's the big package.
It is. This was your WrestleMania preview match. They went 13 minutes. Aries went over. It was a non-title match because Neville said he wouldn't defend it. So this match, again, WrestleMania preview, it was okay. No crazy spots in this one. Aries won with the elbow. You could tell they were still feeling each other out, and they were still, working out that chemistry because they, to my knowledge, I don't think they'd worked together. On maybe in some independent at some point, but I can't recall a major promotion in which they worked together. Someone can correct me if they know.
I'll correct you. But look up Ring of Honor nods. I don't think
they didn't work together. I don't think they worked together in Ring of Honor. But they had a decent little match. I'm sure their WrestleMania match will be really, really good. I'm very excited for that. But Aries was very much over in this, and the crowd was booing Neville pretty hard. New Day, Cesaro, Sheamus, and the King of the Nerds, Geekville, Gallows and Anderson. It went 7 minutes. The Geeks won with the roll-up on Big E. And then they did a dance contest after, and Sheamus danced, and yeah, it was one of those things. But before the show, I saw Gallows and Anderson, and I paid homage to you, Doug.
What'd you say? Oh, yeah. Did you yell, nerds?
I yelled nerds at them, and they got a good chuckle out of that.
They should, because it's like my gimmick, because they're every single week on Monday Night Raw now, I tune in, and Luke Gallows is calling someone a nerd.
It was good.
Buddy, I love it. You're a good brother.
Oh, yeah. Sasha, Bailey, and Dana Brooke beat Alicia Fox, Charlotte, and Nia Jax in a 9-minute match. And the crowd, I'm not like most girls. The crowd did not really know how to react to Dana Brooke because she had just turned. So it was like, yeah. Bailey had to like hug her to like get them to realize, oh, she's okay with her now.
Because she's a waste.
Bailey gave Charlotte the Bailey to belly for the win. And then Zayn and Owens had a 3-minute match before Joe interrupted after Owens cut a promo about how he'd be the face of America after he wins the United States Championship. Then Roman made the save, and they had a 14-minute tag match, which actually had a really sweet finish. Joe went to put Sammy in the clutch. Sammy kicked out of it, and KO went for the pop-up powerbomb on Sammy. He jumped over it, and Reigns hit KO with the spear for the 1-2-3. Couple notes here. Braun Strowman was advertised. He was not there. Naturally, I was very upset about that. Very upset. Brawny. And this was the biggest note I took. Get this. Out of all the matches on the show, not including chin locks or wrist locks, there was not one submission executed in the entire show. Joe did not lock in the clutch at all. He went for it, didn't lock it in. And Charlotte went for the figure 8, but did not lock it in. Sasha did not attempt the bank statement. Nothing. Not one. Isn't that interesting?
It's unusual. I will say this, if just going back to what we were talking about earlier, if Austin Aries and Pac have ever wrestled before, it was on some indie promotion that was never listed.
Yeah, because
I don't think they've ever wrestled before, other than what you've seen on the house show circuit.
Yeah, so
should be an awesome WrestleMania match. I'm sure they were holding stuff in. I mean,
I'm sure.
We talked about it last week. We talked about it on the podcast Wednesday. Like, they're on such cruise control getting us this daggum WrestleMania.
You got to stay healthy too, you know. Got to stay healthy. That's most important than anything else. We don't need any freak injuries before WrestleMania.
True that.
Good little show, though. Check out live events if you can. Anyway, let's get to it, Doug. Previewing NXT TakeOver first. Only 4 matches announced for this. How about we run through them? What do you want to start with?
Let's go. We will start with the Sanity bout. It's Sanity, including the entire faction of Sanity. Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf, Nikki Cross, Eric Young versus Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong, No Way Jose, and Ruby Riott.
So 5 matches. 5 matches, my bad. Yeah, so
hopefully Sanity gets the win.
Yeah, I mean
Ruby Riott, No Way Jose, I can do without. I'm just saying.
This kind of just seems one of those things that's thrown together to get on the card. And
yeah, I mean, let's talk about NXT for a second before we even get into predicting this stuff. Like, this show is getting bad. It's getting hard because
the talent's not there.
I love Sanity.
Yeah,
I love the gimmick. I love the music. I love the presentation. I think Nikki Cross is an awesome character. Eric Young is great. Wolf is good. The fact that they have this jobber-esque tag team I hate the way they're using Strong right now. Ty Dillinger obviously is super over and will be praised beyond all belief when Saturday night hits and we're watching this thing as it's live. No Way Jose. I just can't get behind the guy. And Ruby Riott is so new that it's just like, okay, all right,
nothing there yet.
You're a jobber, so I if it's me, I'm putting Nikki Cross over Ruby Riott for the victory here. That's my prediction for this. Yeah, but it's bad. Like, it's just hard to watch this show right now.
That's exactly how I would book that match as well. I said before, the talent's not there. I don't know if it's that the talent's not there. It's just they're not established yet.
Right.
You know, there's very good established talent. In the same way that the Revival are an established talent. Now, they've been there for a long time, obviously, but even Sasha, when she hadn't been in NXT all that long, she became established pretty quickly.
Right.
So, you just got to give that time, but I'm sure the product will give itself an upswing soon. So we're both going with Sandy there. What's next?
I think part of it is Ryan Ward is no longer there. I mean, I say what you will about Ryan Ward and his dealings with divas in NXT, but I will say this: like, the dude can write some shows, and now that he's the head SmackDown writer, SmackDown, whilst WWE TV on Mondays and Tuesdays does have a lot of WWE logic involved. To me, SmackDown's more of an enjoyable show. A, it's 2 hours, but B, it's written better. And that's because of Ryan. So I give mad props to Ryan Ward, who used to write NXT, and that's why NXT was so good. But I digress. We have Cien Almas versus Aleister Black, which is
Tommy
the new
Young.
name of Tommy Young.
Yeah. Tommy Young.
He's winning.
Yeah.
Aleister
Yeah.
Black gets the victory.
Yeah, he is winning this. It's funny because Andrade Almas was in this position not all that long ago, and now he's on the other end. And
Hey, whatever, dude.
Hey.
He's doing a lot better as a heel.
Oh, I mean, he's intensely better, but someone's got to fill that spot. So be it. That's
New
good.
star coming in WrestleMania weekend. He's got to get that W.
It's the CJ Parker spot, if you will.
Yes. Just hope that CN doesn't break Young's nose. Let's hope for that. The tag team title match, the Authors of Pain. It's a 3-way dance. I'm going to go back to WCW style and call it a 3-way dance, which means no disqualification. Authors of Pain are defending their titles against #DIY and the Revival.
This could be a fun one.
This should
This
be
could
match
be-
of the night. I'm sorry.
This could really be a fun one. Authors of Pain have gotten a lot better. They're really grown into their role, and
I like them.
they're only getting better. They're not regressing.
They're on the Braun
And
Braun train.
They are on the Braun
They're
Braun
booking
train.
them like Braun Braun.
Not quite Braun Braun's level yet, but they're doing well. And man, could this be the swan song for the other two teams? It might be. I mean, for one of them, I'm almost for certain this will be the end of the Revival. I mean, in NXT. I mean, it has to be, right?
I'll tell you, it can't be both. Even though
Yeah,
both need to come
don't
up,
think-
both need to be on the main roster. You can't bring up DIY and Revival at the same time.
I mean, if you did, one's going on one show, the other's going on the other show. I think NXT's tag division needs one of them to stay,
Yes.
and I think that would be DIY.
Yes. The Revival is desperately needed to come up and feud with,
I think
if
SmackDown
it's me, American Alpha.
they're calling right now.
But because I mean, American Alpha ran through every single tag team at Royal Rumble. But yet I'm supposed to believe that the Usos are now, because they won the titles on SmackDown, which to me screams American Alpha's winning them back at WrestleMania. Maybe with a Kurt Angle interference, just saying. But
Yeah.
I don't know what how much leg an Usos versus American Alpha feud continues after WrestleMania, because I've seen it 1,000 GD times. We need stuff that's fresh.
But that SmackDown match, as we talked about in last week's episode, was awesome. So
It was good. I mean,
Hopefully.
you can't deny the Usos' talent. I mean,
hopefully they do that match again at Mania, that same caliber match, and it's great.
we both saying AOP, though.
We are both saying AOP in this one. I can't see Authors of Pain losing it, though, with it being, well, no, it's an elimination match, right? So you can't. Yeah, because I was going to say, well, you could have them lose without being pinned, but with it being an elimination match, that's not the case. So, yeah, AOP. Authors of Pain.
AOP, PPO,
And
PPF.
then we got two more matches announced.
There's the Ember Moon versus Asuka Women's Championship match. Hopefully a sanitized NXT Women's Championship belt. which I believe would be going towards. Oh, yep, I said it. Which would I believe be going to Ember Moon at this point. I said this. As I've said this a couple of times on this show, they held Ember Moon off for so long to face Asuka for a big moment, and they've protected her finish. And I believe that Asuka's going to take this finish and be beaten clean at NXT Takeover. This is how this thing has been built. This is how this thing's been booked.
This is the moment for you.
Classic booking for this.
This is the moment. Are you telling me that come NXT Takeover Orlando, Ember Moon's going to look Asuka in the face and say, "Tonight, you." Is that what you're telling me?
Tonight.
Is she going to say,
Tonight, you.
Yes, and when she does, the tumbleweed's going to go. It's going to zoom in on her face. You're going to hear shh, 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 shh. And it's going to be amazing because she's a vampire. So if you haven't figured this out, like, she's a freaking vampire. It's a much better gimmick than Eric Thorne. So
Kevin Thorne?
Yeah. I
Mordecai?
don't know where Eric came from. I think I just looked at somebody named Eric on our Twitter. But yes, Kevin Thorne.
Can I say, by the way, speaking of Twitter and speaking of Tonight You, we have been flooded with tweets about Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which just fills my heart with joy. Just fills my heart with joy. We are inspiring people, not just musically, but through their animated television as well.
I was touched by the power on my unit in broad daylight.
Jesus, Ezekiel, Jesus. Anywho.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah. Whittly, wah!
I'm going
to rock your body to the break of dawn. Part 2.
I'm going.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah, I'm going Ember. I have to go Ember.
I'm going Ember Moon as well. Asuka, does she come up after Mania now? I don't think so. I think she still does the summer and then maybe around SummerSlam. If they're going to bring her up, then that's going to be where it's going to happen, I think.
God, they're going to bring her up. That we need fresh women. We need fresh people in every single category on Raw and SmackDown.
Well,
you have.
We might see some.
That's the thing with this brand split. Like, you have to keep doing drafts to switch up who's on what show, so that you get fresh matchups every year. But you also have to keep bringing up people from NXT. They can't just stay in NXT any longer. Asuka's been there for almost 3 years. Okay, this girl has been undefeated this entire time. She's a commodity. Not to mention awesome entrance, awesome theme, awesome presentation, awesome ring work. This girl has to come up. There's no keeping her in NXT.
So we just got a tweet from Josh Eisenberg, our buddy, who we cannot wait to roll with at WrestleMania. Who said, I'd put money down on Asuka over Ember Moon.
Well, that's if if they want to do that. Let me just say this for Josh Eisenberg.
Full heel.
Which, cheers, by the way. She goes full heel, and then Ember Moon wins the title at the Brooklyn Takeover.
Which would be great. That would be fantastic. Build a long story there. I would not hate it. I'm still picking Ember Moon for now, but I would not hate that to happen. And then our match, Shinsuke Nakamura going for the gold against Bobby Roode.
Glorious.
Bobby Roode.
The Roo. The Bobby Roode.
So, this is a big one here. If Shinsuke Nakamura loses, that might be it. And we're hearing that it's almost imminent at this point. Now, they could hold off till summer. He is going to be on the NXT summer shows, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because he could be working both. I don't know, man. I mean, Raw's going to be getting Finn Balor back immediately, so that'll be a nice shot in the arm. Does Raw need 2 big baby faces right now? Maybe. Could he end up on SmackDown? Maybe. But I got to imagine you're going with Bobby Roode because I am as well.
It's got to be Roode. Where Asuka, I agree with Josh that they could extend this thing through SummerSlam. No way for Shinsuke. Could they, could they do something crazy like they did with Joe and have Shinsuke win the title for a month and have the rematch on some house show? Yeah, but there's no point to that. And I don't think they're going to go that route with this. I think that they need Shinsuke to get a loss here so that we have, the WrestleMania crowd for the next 3 nights will be itching for that violin music to hit. And I think it's going to be something that they use for either the Monday, the Tuesday after, if not on the show. I don't think it's going to happen at WrestleMania as much, even though if I fantasy booked it, that's what I would do at the end of the show with Brock Lesnar, with Nakamura at least doing a stare down. But and that would be the ultimate WrestleMania is Sunday Night Raw if that happened. So that's why you and I both, we talked about it on the podcast this week, you and I both believe like it's going to happen either on Monday or Tuesday. I believe that if Roman isn't getting the title shot at SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar, then to me it's Shinsuke, because but at the same time, if you do Shinsuke and he loses to Brock Lesnar,
I don't recall saying that I'm feeling for sure that Nakamura.
No, we said it probably would not happen at WrestleMania, but would rather happen if they did a stare down. It would rather happen on Monday or Tuesday.
More likely to happen afterwards.
Yes.
So that's NXT Takeover Orlando. That will be this Saturday night, with the Hall of Fame being Friday. We didn't even talk about it on the podcast last week, but your boy Eric Bischoff making his return.
I'm back, and better than ever. Thinking things better. Face facts. Yeah, he's coming back, and they're gonna play that music, and that's awesome. There'll be 2 Ken dolls at WrestleMania weekend. There'll be you and your tag partner. Yeah,
it's almost. So see, I can do this because we're live. Working around here.
Look at this.
Doug, is he back? Back in Bischoff, baby. Then the Malcolm's rhythm during the solo. Ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom.
Back in black! I hit the sack! Yes, I'm glad to be back, sir. Cut loose from the news, and that's got me hanging around an hour. Yep, we can do that. Yeah, he's gonna be back. I'm back.
By the way, Doug and I have we figured out what night we're gonna be doing karaoke?
I don't know. We gotta find the bar. Gotta find the right bar that's doing karaoke so we can go rock out a little bit.
Anyone knows any good karaoke spots in Orlando? Tweet at us at the LTG podcast at @Wrestle_React.
And then come sing with us.
Because Josh Eisenberg is singing "Take on Me" with me.
Take on me.
He had no idea about that, but
take me on.
By the way, Josh sent us a great tweet. He said, I feel like a 3-day itch isn't a good thing with a wrestling crowd. And that brings you to
those fans that are going to be in that crowd are working on a 14-day itch. Let's get real. Frank Manzo would say, wash your ass.
So Frank,
get a bar of soap and wash your ass.
Anyway, let's talk
Especially
WrestleMania.
Those that are sitting in section 106 beside my wife, myself, Frank, and Maria. All right? Get you some soap and wash your ass. Do that, please.
Amazing.
Since we're talking about WrestleMania, I guess we should transition to that card. By the way, we should say before we move on that there are tons of NXT talent that is not even on this show. There's only 5 matches. It's a 2-hour show. And you have guys like Cassius Ohno, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Tyler Bates in the house, Trent Seven's in the house, Pete Dunne's in the house, the Mandrews is in the house, and Hideo Itami. So we could see these guys show up in some shape or form, video packages, whatever.
A lot of them are going to be working at Access too, so
true.
They'll be busy.
Yes.
Anyway, let's talk WrestleMania. Time to make our WrestleMania predictions. Now, if you're not listening to this live and you're listening to it Monday or Tuesday, obviously you have seen Raw, you have seen SmackDown. Stuff may get announced, but guess what? We can't tell the future. Otherwise, we Who is winning at WrestleMania?
That's true. And we can't do this podcast on Tuesday or Wednesday. So this is why we brought it to you guys. It's special tonight. And we're growing. The number is growing. People are coming in. They're having a good time. People are sharing this show. So it's awesome.
Speaking of specials, real quick, remind everyone, here there's going to be a special on Pro Wrestling Tees, right?
Yeah. So we have 4 T-shirts, Wrestle Reaction, Faces and Heels and Waists, the LTG logo, which is what John is so proudly sporting this evening right there. Looks fantastic. That microphone, which is an Emmy Award-winning microphone. And then, of course, the collage and of quotes that we use here constantly that you guys have always tweeted us with hashtags. So anything that you guys have sent us hashtags of that you're picking out of shows in the sunburst effect behind Living the Gimmick, those are there. Barefoot Wine. Or Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell. Mail Call, Top 5. Mail Call Season 2. Nerds. Wastes. WWE Logic. All those hashtags are there. You can check those out at prowrestlingtees.com/WrestleReaction. Those 4 shirts coming, I think, all the way up, like from extra small all the way up to 5X. So we got you a hookup. And, of course, the sale that starts this week for the Go Home to WrestleMania sale, 15% off on Monday. You'll get promo codes blasted from our Twitters and, of course, posts that you'll see on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. So you can go get that. And if you want to fork out the money for expedited shipping, you can probably get it before WrestleMania. So looking forward to seeing you guys rocking these shirts come around Orlando in a week.
Yes, sir. All right, WrestleMania time. Let's get to it. What do you want to start with, Doug?
We're going to go from what we believe to be the big matches of the card all the way down to what may or may not be big matches on the card. We're going to go in order of title match first. All the title matches we'll discuss, and then we'll get to the matches that do not have titles on the line. There are 8 confirmed championship matches at WrestleMania 33. So that's what we're going to start with, including the match that you and I believe, we talked about it on the podcast. Vince has had a boner for this thing since October.
Be nice now.
What? I didn't say anything bad. I just said he's had a boner. Vince has a lot of boners. And he proceeds to ram them into our brains because this is what he does. Look at Roman Reigns' 3-year failure of a push. But I digress. The Universal title match, which should be closing the show if you're Vince McMahon's brain.
Yeah, it's going to be closing the show. I know.
So let's talk about this. The Universal title match, Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg, defending his title for the first time. And probably the last time.
We've heard that he might stay on a little longer, but I'm still going with it. I do very much believe Brock Lesnar will be walking away from this. Your Universal Champion. He will have 1 year exactly left on his contract, and I believe he will spend a majority of that 1 year as the Universal Champion. So that's what I'm going with. What about you?
I'm right there with you.
How are you?
Brock has to win this. How am I booking this match?
This is what everyone is going to want to talk about. Is this going to be a reverse squash where Brock Lesnar buries Goldberg? Is this going to be combat? Are we going to see the two utilize some MMA and beat each other up? Are we going to see Goldberg do his squash and everything, and then Brock Lesnar just F5 out of nowhere, and that's it? What are you doing here? Because I got to be honest with you. If you're going to go 5 to 7 minutes or maybe even a little longer, wouldn't hate some MMA style brawling between these two where they're beating the crap out of each other. Goldberg has said he's going to be whipping out some stuff we haven't seen before from him. So maybe that's the route you go. I wouldn't hate it as long as it's intense. The intensity has been the motif for this feud. Everything between the two of them has been very intense. And I think if you continue to bring that, you're going to be all right, because the WrestleMania 20 match was the furthest thing from intense.
Man, booking this match, which I only believe is going to go 7 minutes bell to bell. If it's going to go that long, there has to be some brawl action.
That's what I'm saying.
So, could be that they start off, maybe Brock catches him during the entrance, starts throwing him around on the outside. I don't want to see that. I want to see them go toe to toe. But I'm like, 7 minutes.
there's a big moment in that stare down in the ring between the two of them.
I
And with
absolutely agree. With a polarizing response from the crowd, I get it. Like I understand that, but if you're gonna go 7 minutes, I could easily see. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Brock hits an F5 first thing, because there's probably going to be you got to have at least 2 F5s in this match. It took 3 to take down the Undertaker.
You got to have that big shock moment.
So if it's the first, very first thing, like you're talking about the reverse squash thing, Brock gets an F5, and people wonder, are they gonna, is this gonna be the end immediately? Which everyone there should know it's not. But still, the factor of, is there going to be a 3 count? So false finishes galore. That's what this match is going to be if it's 7 minutes bell to bell. Maybe a couple rest holds. I don't see that happening. If they do some jiu-jitsu, whatever.
I would do I'd maybe do a Kimura lock, but I wouldn't do anything more than that.
A Kimura lock, or maybe, Goldberg goes for a hold. Lesnar reverses it into a Kimura. Goldberg fights out. But I think the big spots of this match look like this. If Brock is, in fact, winning, which you and I both believe that he is, I think the big spot is open up with an F5. Goldberg gets a 2 count. Brock gets up, immediately tries to go for another one. Goldberg throws him out or reverses it into an armbar or something, because we've seen Goldberg whip his legs around and put on an armbar before. He has a leg grapevine, which Ed graciously just reminded us he does. He does that. He's done that a lot. We've seen arm bars. We've seen leg holds from the Goldberg before. And I think if he, F5 to start, maybe Goldberg rushes him in a spear and Brock picks him up and F5s him and the crowd goes nuts. You think, hey, exactly. Here comes the spear, just like the last one. First thing, spear. Doesn't hit the spear. Brock Lesnar hits a F5, gets a 2 count, gets up, is going to F5 him again, wrapped into an armbar, wrapped into a leg hold, something. Brock gets out of that. He does hit a spear, because, if he does, you got to hit a spear at least. He hits a spear. Brock Lesnar's getting up, holding his stomach like last time. Maybe he hits 2 spears. Brock Lesnar's off his rocker, because we all know that WWE loves to have whoever's winning, let the other guy, even if it's the baby face, that's even if it's the heel that's going over, the other person, like if you go back and watch the Sasha Banks and Nia Jax match from Fastlane, from Fastlane, and it's 95% Sasha Banks and Nia Jax got the win. Like, made no sense. She's getting just beasted, and then Nia hits Samoan drop and wins. I think this is, it's not going to be as obvious as that, because I think Lesnar's going to get an F5 at the start of the match. And then we have a spear, maybe 2 spears. He goes for the jackhammer, calls for going up. And you got to remember, in that suplex position, Brock could easily hoist him up, reverse that sucker, maybe drop out of it, get a German suplex at F5. And that's how we kill off Goldberg. At least 2 F5s, if not 3, because it did take, as you remember, 3 years ago, it took 3 F5s to kill the Undertaker. So we'll see what happens there. That's my fantasy booking, if you're asking me.
Roman Reigns did kick out of 3 F5s at WrestleMania 31, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did.
So we'll have to see on that end. I try to say to myself, what kind of match do I think would provide the most excitement? And we've seen so much shock value, and I think the two beating the crap out of each other in a short period of time where it's very intense, MMA-esque, but
Lesnar uses
brutal.
The corners of his glove to get color. He's done it every WrestleMania for the last 3 years. He uses the corner of his glove to get some color.
I would I'd book it in that regard, and I would have the shock factor be, wow, this is a brutal match. Seen the shock value in how quick things have gone with Goldberg. I think the shock value here is just similar to what we had with Randy at SummerSlam. It's wow, whoa, they did that, like they actually decided to let something be that brutal, and look, could get everyone talking, could be really cool. I hope they deliver. I really do, because so much has gone into this, and I'm excited. I am. The vignettes have been good. The promos have been good. Hopefully on Raw they deliver the same intensity, and we get something surprisingly good, because I know there's a lot of people who have low expectations for this, and with reason. We saw WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
But I'm optimistic after what happened at Survivor Series and what happened at the Royal Rumble.
John, the bigger question I have for you, because we both are pretty set on Brock Lesnar winning this match. So the bigger question I have for you is, what is the very last thing we see at WrestleMania? Is it Brock Lesnar standing tall with the title? Is there anything else that happens, or any kind of swerveration, anything like that? Or is it just Brock Lesnar holding the title on?
Because very rarely does WrestleMania go off with a heel winning. And for all intents and purposes,
Happened
Brock
last
Lesnar's
year.
your heel. Yeah, Brock Lesnar's your heel here, technically. But I don't think you're going to see Shinsuke Nakamura out there. Man, I can't think. I can't think of any other way this goes off the air other than Brock Lesnar as your champion. And maybe I'm wrong. So be it if I am. Let them surprise me. That's great. But I don't see it any other way. Maybe Goldberg getting a send-off from the crowd. Maybe. I don't know.
No, Goldberg's not going to just be waiting in the ring.
I don't think that's going to happen either.
No. Let me present to you how I could, the fantasy booking, obviously, because I do believe if this closes the show, and you and I have talked about this for 4 weeks, what happens if this closes the show? If this closes the show, in my opinion, this will be Sunday Night Raw, and there will be a stare down between Brock Lesnar and someone.
Okay.
Fantasy booking, it's Shinsuke Nakamura. Reality booking, like actually thinking about how WWE logic comes into play and Vince's boners come into play. Who else but Roman Reigns enters the fold to stare down Brock Lesnar to set up either a SummerSlam and or WrestleMania 34 bout with Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns, which will get booed like crazy if they throw him out there afterwards. But God knows if he beats The Undertaker, which we will talk about, and retires him, there's no one else to come out and face Brock Lesnar at the end of the show in Vince's eyes than the guy who just retired The Undertaker. Roman Reigns.
Could happen.
Boo City.
What if? And I pitched this a while ago, and I think Justin Labar even may have mentioned it maybe a month ago. What if on Raw it's Braun? What if it's Braun getting up in Lesnar's face? That'd be something. You're ignoring that. Okay.
I hear anyway, it. I just don't think that's going to happen. What in my brain that I have seen over the last 6 weeks tells me Braun Strowman is the guy that they're going to put up against Brock Lesnar next. Before teasing and or setting up. Let me tell you something. If Vince wants to do, which is what we've read, Vince wants to make this a year-out feud, a feud that builds for a year between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. There's no better sight than to see at WrestleMania a complete year. Because last time, remember, with The Rock and John Cena, it was built the next night.
It was.
Now, we still got shots of Cena and The Rock in the ring at WrestleMania because The Rock got involved in the match. But the very next night is when they set up the match, and that's when we got the stare down. This could be something that he wants to try. We're going to set it up at WrestleMania at the end of this thing, and everybody's going to go nuts. And yeah, they're going to go nuts, but it's going to be it's going to be the opposite effect. This is a worldwide crowd. This is not the house show crowd that you were at last night, John. That's going to cheer Roman Reigns 65% of the time. That's not going to happen.
They did go pretty crazy for Roman Reigns in Portland. I'll tell you that.
WrestleMania.
There was a lot of Roman Reigns merchandise too, which is a reminder of why, if this is the plan, that this is the plan. That's a reminder why.
I told everybody he's one of the top 5 for merch. Top 3.
WWE Championship match: Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt. Got to think. You know what? It's not so cut and dry. The long-term plan of this, ends with Randy Orton winning the championship. It doesn't have to come at WrestleMania. What do you make of it?
I think it's Randy Orton all day.
I'll say this. If Brock Lesnar's winning, then Randy Orton's definitely
Absolutely.
winning.
Absolutely. And I mean, think about this. Randy Orton comes
sold.
back, does this entire program with the Wyatts, and is an arsonist, is a criminal, and we rewarded the criminal with a title match. Then he's getting the freaking title. To me, would it be awesome if Bray Wyatt retains here, because Bray Wyatt has yet to have a WrestleMania moment? Sure.
I'm not going to say it's impossible. I'm not going to say it's out of the realm that Bray Wyatt
Me neither.
can't retain.
I'm not saying that.
You could keep this feud going.
But I think the way they keep the feud going,
I know
is
you're
Randy
saying
wins the title, and that gets us to a Bray Wyatt rematch. Because I mean, if Randy loses if Randy loses this match, he's not going to be awarded another WWE Championship match.
Just keep going after.
What else could he do? He's burned down his freaking house and gotten away with it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else aside from killing him that Randy Orton can do to initiate a feud here. He has crossed the point of no return. He burned down his worship house, his sanctuary. He burned it down. There's nowhere else to go. So Randy has to win the Royal Rumble, turn on the Wyatt family, and win the title here. And Bray can win the title back from Randy at a pay-per-view at a later date. Maybe in in May.
I'll go Randy.
I'm solely with Randy Orton on this.
Just because there's no way two heels are walking away with championships. I feel pretty confident in that. But I could be
the
wrong.
arsonist wins the title, by the way.
There you go. Hey, get rewarded. Burn down a house, get rewarded. Women's Championship for Raw, Fatal 4-Way. Nia Jax is in the match. Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Bayley. I'm not like most girls. I saw a guy wearing that shirt yesterday. I saw a guy wearing that shirt yesterday. I'm not like most girls. I said, sir, you are not.
Sir, that beard and snaggletooth says that you're not. Touche, sir. That's what you just say. Hey, touche. Touche.
You're right.
Give him a golf clap and just go, hey, touche. Touche, you're not.
Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Bayley. Who you got?
What do you do? What do you do?
I don't think Bayley's walking away with the championship.
You think she wins it back because the Raw?
I think this is going.
Is the next pay-per-view in San Jose?
It's either the next one or two from now. I think Bayley is going to get screwed out of this inadvertently.
Think Sasha wins it?
Well, I think Sasha may accidentally screw her out of it, and that's going to be the start. That's going to be the start of everything here. Because I do think we are getting Charlotte. I mean, I do think we are getting Sasha and Bayley at SummerSlam.
If I had to pick somebody out, just picking somebody, then it's Charlotte.
Yeah, I think
for whatever reason at this point, just Charlotte. There's 4 women in this match. I don't care because this has been so flippantly booked. Charlotte. I'm going to say Charlotte wins this.
I think the more important thing is if someone else wins, how does Bayley lose? And I'm going to go with the fact that Sasha's going to cost her, and I think, okay, I'll give you Charlotte, but then that could mean you get more Sasha and Charlotte matches. I don't.
You can't give it to Nia.
No, you can't give it to Nia. I'll go Charlotte too. Jasmine says on Twitter, if Brock wins, Bray may retain because normally both titles do not change hands at WrestleMania. And while that is normally the case, there have been WrestleManias where it has happened. WrestleMania 21, for example, both changed. So it's possible. Again, you can tweet at us throughout the show at the LTG Podcast, at Wrestle_React, at John Alba, at Doug O'Mac.
Or you can jump in that chat room, son. Get over to WrestleReaction.net/watch and hop in this chat room. We got a lot of loyal people in there having a good old time. So come on in.
Good. We've
JBL's Dragon Ed says Sasha falls on top of Charlotte and gets the pin.
That could, yeah, that'd be a little.
Bayley takes out Charlotte with a Bayley to belly, maybe, and Sasha hurls Bayley out of the ring over the top rope. She takes it over the top rope bump, and Sasha gets the victory.
That's a great way to build that story, you know.
Yep.
It's a good start.
Yep.
And
that gives Sasha a WrestleMania win.
And that's kind of more or less the lines of thinking that I'm going with here. And whether it's Sasha winning or Charlotte winning, you know, I think the more important thing is, okay, we're getting this title off Bayley. Let's build her back up as an underdog and continue to go with this. Okay. Let's go with the U.S. title match, which I think arguably has the best build on this card.
Yes.
Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. It's personal. There's a title on the line. This should get a lot of time on this card. This has the same vibe for me as the Punk Jericho match, where you know it was going to have it wasn't the main event, but you knew it was going to have a lot of time on the card. It was a must-see match, good story. I think this is going to deliver, and I think we're going to be talking about this match hopefully for many years to come.
Yeah, I said on Wrestle Reaction last week and on the podcast last week that this to me has the aura of Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho, especially with Chris Jericho referencing the mentee versus mentor, hero versus fan.
Well, as we said,
hero versus Mark angle.
As we said last week, that promo was just unbelievable and one of the best of Chris Jericho's career.
So with Jericho now in Shawn Michaels' role and Kevin Owens in Chris Jericho's role, could they do the exact same finish where Jericho gets the win and Kevin Owens then attacks, acts like he's hugging or shaking his hand and attacks him afterwards? Sure. But I don't think we're going that route. I think that with the obvious disappearance for at least a month, if not 2 months from Jericho that's coming up so he can go tour with Fozzy Man, then I think no brainer for me is to have Kevin Owens have his first singles WrestleMania win. And that's to win the United States Championship.
The real question is, are we going to see involvement from Samoa Joe in this? Now, look, again, Raw could come and go, and Samoa Joe might have a match set for WrestleMania.
Could be. Right now we don't know.
Balor. But if I had to bet, right now I'm saying this is where we see Samoa Joe at WrestleMania.
So you and I talked about this Wednesday, and you were more leaning towards Samoa Joe getting involved with Triple H and Seth Rollins. So I mean this is where if Joe is just being there, and I'm going to go as far to say this: if Joe has zero match, okay, because we've seen this at WrestleManias prior. If Joe has zero match and he's just like Triple H is heavy, he's just the right hand of the Destroyer, which is beyond confusing how they're booking this guy right now with what they're calling him, because his theme song is called Destroyer. They have put Destroyer now on his t-shirts. Michael Cole goes between calling him the Destroyer, and then when Triple H comes out, not only is he the creator, he's the Destroyer. So we've got two Destroyers now with capital D's, which doesn't make any sense. But if Samoa Joe is just the heavy for Triple H, if he is the soldier, the right-hand man, the sergeant at arms for Triple H during this war, then we could easily see Samoa Joe interfere in this match and Triple H and Seth Rollins.
Gun to my head, I'm still picking Seth Rollins and Triple H to see him because it's a non-sanctioned match. But I was just throwing out the possibility that we could see him here. I would like to see a clean match here. And I'd like to see Kevin Owens take this championship. And we'll get this feud reignited whenever we have Jericho next, whether it's on Raw or whether he does take a small break or whatever the deal is going to be with him.
Do you know, in 2 years on the main roster, if Owens wins the U.S. title, he's just got 2 more titles to hold.
Yep, tag team title.
A lot of stock in this guy. He wins the U.S. title.
In the Cruiserweight Championship.
Well, I'm not referring to the Cruiserweight. I'm talking to the WWE Championship.
I'm joking. Anywho. You're going KO?
I'm going KO. Whether or not Joe gets involved. If we do, and I'll just go ahead and do this since we are doing predictions, and yes, that means we're going to get into a little bit of fantasy booking and just talk about what we think could happen on the show. If Joe is involved in both matches, you could see Joe come out, because when have we seen Kevin Owens lately, other than matches with Sami Zayn, get clean wins? His entire Universal Championship title run was with somebody helping him, whether it was Chris Jericho or Braun Strowman. So if that's the case, Samoa Joe could come out to help him win this title, to which someone that you don't expect to see on the show and it's all over, rumors and innuendo, if you will, if we're going to reference Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson here. And they even were talking about it in the chat room a second ago. You could easily say, with Joe coming out in the non-sanctioned match with Triple H and Seth Rollins, the guy that they just fired,
Mick Foley,
could come out to make sure that Samoa Joe doesn't get a chance to interfere in this one like he did in the one previously in the night. So could have Mick Foley come out to stop Samoa Joe from getting involved twice.
Well, I don't see what kind of influence Foley would have, but you never know.
Me neither, but he's been a part of this storyline pretty heavily. So, and it is WrestleMania where they like to bring out legends.
Intercontinental Championship match, Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose. Something gives me the hint that this might open up the main card.
Possibly.
I think this opens up the main card.
In a forklift match.
And I don't know, man. I mean, we're calling all these title changes here. Every single one we've talked about. Could you see another one here? I mean, the logic tells you, okay, Corbin wins it, but I think Ambrose probably retains here.
I think the manner in which Baron Corbin has attacked and constantly berated and belittled. We saw Ambrose come in and drop him with a dirty deeds last week. That was 2 weeks before.
Yeah,
that was 2 weeks before. We could easily see Baron Corbin get the upper hand again on Tuesday, because obviously this is on Sunday the 26th. So we don't know what's happened on SmackDown yet. If you're listening to this post SmackDown, and we know, but we don't right now. So if it's me and it's the go home show for SmackDown, Corbin gets the upper hand, and Corbin looks like a monster going into this thing. I've said it over and over again. Corbin is right now what I believe to be the second coming of what I saw in 1997 with Kane. And I think that he's progressing that well. I mean, you got to think, Kane wasn't awesome in 97, but he was getting there. It was 2001. It was 4 years later when Kane had hit like stride where he was a beast. And I think it may take a couple more years for Corbin, but we're on a nice roll with Corbin right now. And I think that he's going to go in looking strong in this match. It's going to be a good match. We're going to see some sick spots, and then Ambrose is going to get the victory.
I think
it's not going to hurt Corbin to lose this match.
No, it won't, because he can always come back and win a stipulation match by continuing to attack Dean Ambrose and set up for something more. I'm not worried. I do think Baron Corbin's going to hold the Intercontinental Championship pretty soon. And I think that he will find his way to it. I could see Dean Ambrose just being his wacky self and pulling one out here. And I would think that's more or less where we are headed. Triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Sheamus and Cesaro versus them. Title change here? Is this the moment for Enzo and Cass?
Yes. This is the coronation of a tag team that debuted almost exactly 1 year prior. They debuted on the main roster the night after WrestleMania. And I think this is where we get to Enzo and Cass, because got to think, they were teasing a split up. They were teasing that Cass was getting super annoyed, but that got dropped 2 or 3 weeks ago, which to me is, and they've been on the same page, on fire, doing the big entrance and getting everybody behind them. The last 2 weeks they've been with crowds that really have enjoyed that. And to me, before they do a splitteroo, they never won an NXT Tag Team Championship, and I think this is where they win the WWE Tag Team Championship for the Raw brand. I think this is where you coronate these baby faces. They have a huge moment with the WrestleMania crowd that's obviously going to be into them. This is where you do it. There's no other place to do it.
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it there. I don't see Cesaro and Sheamus walking away here. Maybe the Good Brothers come away with a sneak win and you do the title change on Raw. I mean, they've done stuff like that before, but I don't think any way past Monday Enzo and Cass aren't tag champions.
My God, if they lose again, how do they get another shot? Because we've seen time after time, week after week for 7 weeks on Raw, both Sheamus and Cesaro and Enzo and Cass fighting for their spot at WrestleMania to be part of this match. How, if they lose this match,
they don't need to be the one. They don't need to be the ones to lose. Cesaro and
God, stupid. I would hate that.
Cesaro and Sheamus could be the ones to lose.
Logically, that makes zero sense.
I think Enzo and Cass, I would not say it makes zero sense, but Enzo and Cass are going to be the ones to win at WrestleMania, I would say. But I would guarantee come Monday at the latest, they will be tag team champions. SmackDown Women's Championship. Carmella, Natalia, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and any other person on the SmackDown roster, or my guess is some one-offs. We know Kelly Kelly will be around. We're hearing Naomi should be ready.
Bring it to the foot.
Today's rumor from PW Insider says Eve Torres is being brought in. Whether she's in the match,
the Hosky.
Look, she had a good little run towards the end of her WWE career. I think people would be happy.
Looking
to see
good
her.
in suits. Yeah.
It looks good to me.
No. Her and Kelly in the ring. No. That's like saying, hey, let's get Candice Michelle back in here.
Eve wasn't that bad towards the end of her run.
Dude, the best thing she did was backstage in a suit.
Oh, I mean, her character.
With an aide.
No, her character was great towards the end. Kicking Zack Ryder and the little broskies.
She's a hosky, yo.
What do you think here?
Ooh.
I mean,
Ooh.
I think the logic says Naomi, if she's available, will be the one to win this match. I assume if Naomi's in, you're picking Naomi?
Yep.
Let's say she's not in. Who are you picking?
Becky.
You think they go the big baby face win?
Yeah, I mean, it's WrestleMania. Most of these matches, and we've already talked about 4 matches that are going to have heels win. Or 3 matches that are going to have heels win. So most WrestleManias have the majority of baby faces get wins. So I think it's Naomi if she's in, which pretty sure she's already been cleared. It's her hometown. It's Orlando. Big pop for her. God, the last time she won the title, the fans were chanting, "You deserve it," for someone that botches spots like crazy. She does, as an analyst, like looking at it and going, she's worked really hard and has gotten a lot better in the ring. If there's anybody with the women that are on this roster, if there's anybody that has worked harder than her, it's very few and far between to get to where she is. Her and Nikki Bella, both in a span of a year, got a lot better in the ring as wrestlers. So if there's someone that I believe needs a hometown victory, which most of the time hometown victories aren't something that WWE hands out, especially not when it's a title change. This could be it. It's a female match that there's going to be a lot of, maybe a few surprises because it's an open-ended match on this card where it's anybody that's available. But then do you use what kind of logic do you use to say that Eve Torres and Kelly are on the SmackDown roster?
Hey, who knows?
It's anybody that's on the SmackDown roster, any female that's available on the SmackDown roster. They're going to sign these girls, and are they going to explain on WrestleMania Talk after the show or whatever the post show is going to be called that, you're going to have Daniel Bryan talk about, well, we signed all of them to one-night deals just so they could come in and get a title shot. Stupid.
He could do that, though.
Dumb.
A lot of people calling for Asuka in this match. I don't think you see her.
I don't think you do either, but hey, if she does lose the title, it'd be a cool spot to put her up. And then you can say, we did sign Asuka last night after she got defeated, and now she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. I mean, that is an awesome surprise booking for the WrestleMania crowd. But to explain how the Kellys and the Eve Torreses get involved in this match is baffling. Like, they're gonna have to stretch out some kind of really hard bout of WWE logic.
We don't know for sure they're going to be in this match.
No, we don't. I'm just saying the rumor. We're just talking about rumors here. Rumors.
The way it should have been from the start is just anyone available. It shouldn't have been anyone on the SmackDown roster.
But they have for 4 weeks said anyone of the women available on the SmackDown roster.
Well, that could change on SmackDown. Those 2 words could be dropped. SmackDown roster. Hell, you could see Beth Phoenix for all we know.
The Glamazon.
Go ahead, do her theme.
That's a hard one to do.
It's a hard one to do. Anyway,
insert synth pad here.
Anyway, Cruiserweight Championship match. This is the last.
I'd be more willing to do Santino's.
This is the last of the confirmed title matches. We could get the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, which I would assume we will get. Cruiserweight Championship match, Austin Aries and Neville. Gotta think Austin Aries wins here. I mean, he's super popular right now.
What?
Anyway,
I've already done Aries. You want me to go back to that?
all right. Austin Aries, you're calling Austin Aries to win the title here?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because Neville's been excellent as a heel, and is the king of the cruiserweights. And I think that one of the best I think one of the best ways to get this match some more legs and have it keep going, this feud to keep going, much like Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, a title change is needed. Unless Neville obliterates Austin Aries, which I don't see happening because of his, the giant packages they've kept presenting for Aries. I think that this is going to get to a win and then a subsequent rematch either at the Raw pay-per-view next month or on 205 Live.
That would seem to be the logical way to do this. Austin Aries will be super popular in this match. Both of these guys will be super popular. And if you give them 12, 13 minutes, they're going to have a great match. And I look forward to it. Tag team championship for SmackDown. Let's assume it's happening. Alpha Usos. Does Alpha win it right back?
If any SmackDown logic is a predecessor to this, yes.
Yep.
But could they hold it off? Absolutely. Usos. Whatever. I'm gonna say AA. Because I do believe that the revival comes up soon, and we're going to need baby faces with the titles. But how they could do this is where what you were talking about with Dean Ambrose. I can honestly see them doing this. I can honestly see, and I don't know how you get back to AA getting another title match, but I can honestly see Usos retaining here, and then the rematch is on Tuesday nights SmackDown. AA wins the titles on SmackDown, and then we get the debut of the revival. Yeah,
Maybe Usos cheat.
Yep.
And they order a rematch because they cheated. Very possible. I still would bet Alpha, though. Then we will have another title match of sorts, a trophy, rather. The Andre the Giant, go ahead, finish the title.
Nerd-tastical Memorial Battle Royal. Just nerd after nerd after nerd.
Last year we had some surprise entrants in it. We had DDP, we had Shaq. We had Tatanka. Give me one surprise entrant you want to see this year in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. What do you want to see? Who you craving?
I mean, honestly, I'm not craving anybody because I don't care.
You know what? I gotta say this: the Battle Royal. We've had 3 of them so far. All 3 of them have been entertaining. Last year's was probably the worst.
Yeah, last year was pretty bad.
And it still wasn't. I didn't think it was that bad. It was just lacking.
Yeah, and this year's is even worse, bro. So I mean, you would expect Curtis Axel, you would expect Bo Dallas out of nowhere, Kurt Hawkins, Mojo Rawley, Dolph Ziggler, Apollo Crews, Kalisto, Big Show. We haven't seen Kane in months. Maybe Kane's in this thing out of nowhere just to get on the Mania card. Mark Henry, Titus, maybe Rhino and Slater. I mean, think of all the other tag teams that from SmackDown that aren't being used. They're probably going to be on there. Matt from the UK, which it's got to be like 221 over there right now, says JBL.
Could be.
Last year they gave Baron Corbin the win. And at least they keep referencing it this time around, and they're giving him a little bit of a spotlight from it. I don't know who you go with here, man. I think look at the people that are on the the Hall of Fame panel, like who are part of the classes of Hall of Fame. There's not a lot of guys on that Hall of Fame class that you could bring out to do it, unless it's the freaking, in there. You can get the drizzling Rockin' Hall of Fame in there. if you will, and get Ricky Morton's irritable bowel syndrome in the ring and see what happens. But I have no idea.
I mean, you got to imagine Strowman's going to win this thing.
I saw people online talking about, well, this could be where Ronda Rousey comes up. Get out of here! Stop it, Ronda.
Well,
Rousey,
no, well, they're saying that because they're saying that, and I mentioned this to you guys because she's on the odds. She's on the Vegas odds for this, but that would she's I think 250 to 1 or something like that, which isn't that crazy. But no, it won't be her. I think it's Strowman's, unless this is where you use Joe, which I would not use him here, but you never know. If it's not Strowman, it might be Sami Zayn. Are you picking Strowman?
Yeah, I would think Braun would be the easy favorite, since they have nothing for him.
That place is going to go nuts for Braun winning.
Yeah, I think it could easily be Brawny Braun. Han Solo and his Braun.
I hope Braun eliminates 15 people in that match. You heard me. 15. I want to see Braun Strowman eliminate 15 people in that match.
You got to think maybe what it surprises is the returning Eric Rowan, the Vintner.
You know what? Well, Luke Harper will probably be in this match.
Sadly.
You know what? This is where Shawn Michaels makes his WrestleMania return.
Shut up.
That's it. And he eliminates Braun Strowman for the win.
If there's ever been a fantasy booking that deserves that kind of sound effect, it is that, because news this past week on a podcast.
But Doug, he said he wanted to do something important, and that would be a way to elevate the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Dude, he also turned down a match with AJ Styles, so I can't.
Styles.
And when we talk about AJ, I'm gonna launch more into this because I have a lot to effing say about this. Since this came out after the podcast last week, but no, Shawn Michaels. I'm calling Braun. If it's not Braun, I could easily see, as much as they feuded, Braun is tangled up and is bragging and gloating about the fact that he just eliminated the Big Show and Titus and all these big towering people, and he gets a freaking hell of a kick right to the face over the top rope, and Sami Zayn gets the win over the Braun that has destroyed him tons of times on Raw, if they choose to acknowledge that he's been destroyed by Braun a lot on Raw.
Could do that. Well, our next match brings us to the Rumor Control. So, Doug, I don't know if you've heard this rumor before, because you may have heard it 1 or 2 times over the course of the past 10 years. This is Undertaker's last match.
Again?
He's hurting. He's beat up. This might be it.
Man.
So
concerned.
Roman Reigns going to be the one to retire him, because the rumor is Undertaker's just so beat up from this hip surgery that he can't go anymore, and that officials are concerned for him.
Stop it. If the guy goes and has a surgery, now I know the rumor is he's so beat up this go around. Obviously, I acknowledged on the podcast last week that after he chokeslammed Braun, dude looked like he was hurting.
He did look like he was hurting.
He turned around into a spear and was looking like he was absolutely in pain. Is that the case? And does he need another hip surgery? Maybe. He has a whole year to heal up to get to New Orleans to where he can face John Cena. I will say this about the rumor, and then we can get into talking about the actual match with Roman Reigns. I'm 50-50, man. I can't say yes or no to this, even though my guts, I say no. This is just the same stuff we heard year after year after year about Sting coming to WWE, and I always reference that because for the love of God, I have to see that to believe that. Last year, it was very evident that if Taker was going to lose, he was going to, and I talked about the fact that they brought up this retirement angle again, just like they did last year, where Vince McMahon said, if you lose to Shane McMahon, That's it. No more WrestleMania matches for you. And obviously we saw what happened. The Undertaker won so that he could keep facing people at WrestleMania. The Undertaker then came out in October, November. It was November, and told the SmackDown crew that, hey, SmackDown is my home. Blue Brand is my home, which obviously has not been the case. But he did say that that WrestleMania is no longer going to define him, that he's going to wrestle more than just at WrestleMania. But guess what? His hip's been injured, and he hasn't been able to do that. Do they send him off right now with a victory, and then he can claim that this is still his yard, and then go and get the surgery and come back next year to get retired by John Cena? Or does Vince McMahon's boner run wild on the WWE Universe and have Reigns retire the Undertaker here? That's what we're going to get to. If it's me, my gut says this is not the end for the Undertaker.
My gut says the same, but I did watch him, as you did. And for the first time ever, I was actually concerned and said, you know what? He's laying it
since WrestleMania 27.
Yeah, since Mania 27.
I thought he was dead. I didn't think he was going to wrestle after that. So
he's laying it show that he's hurting. But you know what? It could all just be a work, and we could turn around, and we could see that WrestleMania 29 Taker with Punk, who was just super quick on his feet, moving super well for someone, and super possible. But I'm not buying
that's
it
not who we
entirely.
saw. That's not who we saw last year with Shane, though.
We saw a slower Taker with Shane last year, but he was not immobile by any means.
Oh, he was slow, and he was getting peppered with left and rights. My God.
And he also jumped through a table, so that was besides the point. Okay, let's talk this match. So Roman Reigns wins this match and doesn't get cheered in the slightest bit because he's beating The Undertaker. Let's be real, that's the reaction he's going to get. It kickstarts him through a run next year, and maybe ends with him being crowned champion. Or does Taker win? It's just a blip for Roman. He comes back even stronger and hungrier with respect for Taker, and then he still comes back and becomes crowned champion.
No matter what, on this show and on shows going forward, without a full-fledged heel turn, and even with a full-fledged heel turn, this man is taking everyone on this show and beyond, especially Monday night after Mania, to Boo City, to Booville, USA. No way, if he wins, does he not get booed out of the arena. If he comes out to stare down Brock Lesnar at the end of the show, does he not get eviscerated by this crowd? And hopefully F5'd, and they will chant, "Thank you, Brock. Thank you, Lesnar," if he F5s Roman for coming down there and getting in his face. Maybe that's the image to send everybody home happy that Vince wants to give. Either way, I mean, I really think the only pop that you're going to get for Roman Reigns at this show is if Taker wins, Roman stands up, shakes his hand, and then obliterates the guy. If Roman Reigns turns heel, the fans are going to initially pop. Period. Because they've been waiting for him to turn heel for so long. This is the smart crowd. They're going to cheer for a second. Whether they cheer the whole time or not, that begs to differ, because Dolph Ziggler's been trying to get over as a heel for the last 3 months, and it hasn't happened yet because fans are cheering for Dolph Ziggler being a heel because they know he's 10 times better as a heel than he is a face. If Roman Reigns turns heel, he's going to get a majority pop. If he wins or if he loses and stands up and shakes Taker's hands, there might be a slight applause, but majority boos. I don't know how you get this guy over at WrestleMania. It's not going to happen. Unless you turn him heel for 10 months and then make him a babyface come WrestleMania next year, if that's the route they're going. To me, that's the only way they can try to go. At least try something different and fresh. This guy cannot continue on the route that he's on, even though if it's me and you, we totally believe that Vince isn't turning him anytime soon. So anyway, is a boo reaction for Roman here.
If you were going to turn him, this match has to end WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it has to. But
I think so. I think that's your big angle. That's your huge thing. That's the guy who was your number one babyface, or who they were trying to make your number one babyface turning. And that's to me, that's your big angle. But after being at this live event, seeing the reaction from kids, from some adults too, a lot of adults actually, I am more convinced than ever that Roman Reigns is not turning heel anytime soon, and that he will remain a babyface. And
So who do you pick here,
am,
dude? This is a coin toss for me. It's really about the booking. Booking is not something that we can predict.
I could totally see Taker winning a slugfest and him shaking his hand, doing that, passing the torch kind of thing. But I'm going to go with Roman Reigns being the Undertaker, and I think Roman Reigns is the 2 in 23-2.
But that's,
I think that's
does that retire Taker? Because that's the whole angle here.
That is the whole angle here. Maybe they leave doubts, and maybe your storyline next year is, I know a lot of us thought we saw the last of him, but I want to give him one last rodeo, tear down the house together, find out who is the best of all time with Johnny and Roman. We'll see. I mean, let's see. What's going to boil down to is how much is it pushed on Raw that he's going to retire him. If it's really pushed, he's going to retire him. I'm under the belief Taker will go one more, and then Taker wins. If it's something that's kind of not just kind of pushed aside, I feel much more confident about Roman Reigns winning. Look, last year I made the unorthodox pick by picking Chris Jericho over AJ Styles. Maybe I got to do it again here. I'm going with Roman Reigns for now.
I'm going with Roman Reigns for now as well, until we see Raw, mainly because of Vince's boner. There's been nothing that has shown me anything other than Vince persistently trying to push this guy down everybody's throats. How do you get I don't want it to happen because the angle to me hasn't been set up well enough. This should have been going on. Like this, Taker should have been on this show mainly from Rumble on talking, and there should have been more promos. Taker hasn't really cut promos well during this program. Maybe he does that on Raw because we really haven't heard from him and an answer of this is not your yard, like this is my yard. Like there hasn't really been a rebuttal here, other than a choke slam, a cut of the throat, a roll of the eyes, and then we go from there. But I don't like. There's got to be some more program built here on Raw because where's the animosity? Like other than just Roman saying I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna beat him. Like they basically built this up like the streak's still intact, and that Roman's trying to take out the streak, but that's not the case. So I need a little bit more. But just knowing how Vince wants to book Roman, I got to go with Roman, even though I don't want to.
I'm going with Roman as well. 3 more matches here. John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maryse.
My bathroom break match.
Pretty straightforward here. John Cena and Nikki Bella will win this match.
Yep.
And
proposal afterwards?
Do the proposal afterwards.
Yep.
I just hope this week we get some more Total Bellas stuff because I'm all about it. It was awesome. I'll say that again. It was awesome. Just like The Miz, who's been awesome. So, all about that, and you're picking Cena and Nikki here?
Absolutely. And then we have a match that hasn't officially been signed yet, but will be signed Monday in a no-harm agreement contract. Triple H versus the Kingslayer, which is already on his shirt, by the way. So I wonder who's going to win this one. Seth Rollins versus Triple H.
This is probably the easiest one of the night to pick. Next to John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maryse.
Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah, it's got to be Seth Rollins here. I mean, you cannot have Seth Rollins lose this match. Seth Rollins
That's the biggest death of deaths if
now
he gets beaten.
Everyone picked Sting over Triple H except me, saying that Sting had to win.
Yeah, well,
but Sting could afford that loss. Seth Rollins cannot afford this loss. And the slightest bit. You finally have rebottled some of that big baby face momentum for him. Keep running with it. Whether Joe gets involved, whether Balor gets involved, whether Zayn gets involved, I don't know. But just keep running with that momentum. Seth Rollins has to win this match. No questions asked on that one. Agreed?
Absolutely agree.
And then our last match, the
Here
one
comes
that
the
they have
money.
spent quite a bit of time on SmackDown with Shane McMahon
Here comes the money.
and AJ
Money,
Styles.
dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. That's
So
about it.
again, we are taping this before SmackDown, but I think this will probably be made a street fight or something of that degree.
After what happened this past Tuesday, yes, I believe this is going to be a street fight.
And that's probably the best way to let Shane McMahon work with AJ Styles because it gives them freedom to do non-wrestling things. Which
By non-wrestling things, you mean kill yourself spots.
essentially.
That leaves Shane concussed. Right. I get it.
Well,
And possibly kill AJ at the same time. So we'll see. What's the over-under on injuries in this match? Like, how many injuries does AJ suffer during this match?
I think he'll be okay.
We'll see.
Here's what I said to you guys in the chat. If Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels could have a great WrestleMania match, which was a no-holds-barred match.
DX Chop 2006, off the ladder.
I think these two can have a great match too. Because I think when all said and done, we can both agree that Shane is better than Vince in the ring. And
well, of
people
course,
like to call AJ Styles the modern Shawn Michaels.
Because both of them can wrestle with a broomstick and get the broom over. So yeah.
Correct. The TLC match that AJ Styles had with Dean Ambrose was one of my favorites last year.
Actually, I'm not a broom, or I'm not a horse. I'm a broom.
Oh my God. How do you feel about this?
Actually, Maury,
to be honest, Diane, I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
Actually, I'm not a man. I'm a woman. Ooh.
Oh my God,
actually, I'm not a woman. I'm a horse. Ooh.
Oh my God, you're a horse?
Actually, I'm not a horse. I'm a broom.
Oh my God, you're a broom?
To be honest, Diane.
To be honest with you, Diane,
I'm surprised.
I'm surprised.
Oh, flashback to like season 2 of Family Guy, maybe even season 1.
You want to hear jokes like this? Come hang out with us in Orlando. We're gonna be at Wale Mania. We're gonna be at the Bruce Pritchard show.
Who's the boss is not
We're gonna be singing karaoke. We're gonna be at the WrestleZone get together with Chair Shot Reality. Rather,
I don't know.
Gonna be a lot of fun. Oh boy, you're going.
AJ Styles.
Going with here?
AJ Styles. No way Shane wins this match.
I hope not.
God.
AJ Styles being 0-2 at WrestleMania is not best for business.
Okay, rant time. Plug in and get comfortable because Shawn Michaels reveals on Thursday on a podcast, Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast, by the way, says that he was approached by the top brass like Triple H and Vince saying, we don't have anything for AJ Styles. So this would have had to have been back in January, right? Because we've known Shane versus AJ for at least 2 months. Since the Rumble, we knew, all right, it's, supposed to be Samoa Joe, John Cena, and AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. That was what was told. And then, of course, the John Cena thing changed when Nikki started losing feeling in her hands. So Shawn Michaels gets approached and says, we don't have anything for AJ Styles. Do you want to work with him? To which Shawn's response was, man, if he was in WWE 10 years ago, I would have loved to have worked with this young man. Can you imagine if we talk about the fact, in my humble opinion, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time from WrestleMania 25. That's just my opinion. Whatever. Second to that would be Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, but I digress. You have AJ Styles voted unanimously on every single year-end award show that I saw from every wrestling analyst on the market,
including
the Wrestling Observer Awards, PW Insider voted. You had Wrestling Inc., WrestleZone. All these people had award shows. We had an award show that is no longer available for you to watch, but we had one, and you guys voted on who was Superstar of the Year. AJ Styles won unanimously across every wrestling analyst platform. For 2016, the best superstar in the world, not just WWE, in the world. He won Match of the Year with Nakamura from New Japan last January, and then debuted at the Royal Rumble 3 weeks later, and then was the best superstar when John Cena was gone. And we thought, how the hell is SmackDown going to actually exist and bring in ratings that are sustainable without John Cena? One answer, AJ freaking Styles. He held the show down and did the best work with people. He pulled the best out of Dean Ambrose that we've seen in years. He has pulled the best out of John Cena that we have seen in years. There are tons of people that when AJ Styles works with them. Roman Reigns had one of the best matches in WWE last year with AJ Styles, who unanimously won Superstar of the Year for a reason. Male Superstar of the Year, overall Superstar of the Year, Match of the Year. This guy was 2016's answer to Shawn Michaels year after year after year. And Vince and Triple H go to Shawn Michaels in January or whenever it was and say, we don't have anything for AJ Styles. How in the blue hell, when you look at how this guy has run this company and run SmackDown as the best guy on the show and is the most talented, can work with anybody that you have on your roster, who went in there with Chris Jericho last year, lost, but still had an excellent match. Like, how do you look at this guy and see the year he had? Yes, he held the WWE Championship even his first year in. 3 months after, or 5 months after being on the roster, he owns and runs with the championship. The face that runs the place, the champ that runs the camp. How do you look at this guy and not go, we have WrestleMania plans for this guy because he deserves it, and he has done the best over this past year? Because WrestleMania used to be the place that you reward people that have gotten over and have been the best in the company over that year. How do you look at this guy and not go, we have to have a main event with him? They didn't have anything for him. And this just goes to show that Vince looks at a guy like AJ Styles, who's obviously not like Shawn Michaels in his opinion, and he looks at him almost like he would look at a Sami Zayn. Almost like he would look at a good hand who does draw. But in the grand scheme of things, like WrestleMania, got to have Goldberg and Lesnar. Got to have Reigns and Taker. Obviously, the Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens thing has been booked well. They had a solidified, obvious go for a triple threat with Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and AJ Styles. And instead of going in that direction, it's, well, Shane helped out with the ticket sales last year, had a hell of a match with The Undertaker. Let's see if he adds to the numbers this year. Let's put him in there with AJ Styles because we don't have anybody else for AJ.
I don't think that's...
Because we can't put him in the Battle Royal. How do you not have something for... How do you go to Shawn Michaels in January and say, we have nothing for AJ Styles?
First off, we don't know that that's what was said.
Oh, that's what Shawn Michaels said. That's what was said.
Shawn Michaels said that they hadn't had any plans solidified for him. That doesn't mean that they didn't have anything for him.
His exact quote was, we have nothing for AJ Styles.
Let me say this.
His exact
because
quote.
the way in which you're putting it is that the way in which you're putting it is that they're making this about Shane rather than about Shane and AJ. And I think the ideology is, listen, Shane was a major draw, as you alluded to. He is a McMahon. Having a match with a McMahon at WrestleMania is a big deal for a talent. Because that McMahon name is drawing power. You say that McMahon name anywhere in wrestling, everyone knows who you're talking about. AJ Styles, with that logic, is being the highest drawing names in the history of wrestling, McMahon. And yeah, you know what? Shane McMahon is not a great technical wrestler. Of course not. He's 46 years old. But Shane McMahon is someone that a lot of the casual fans and a lot of the hardcore fans enjoy watching. And yeah, you could have gone a way better technical match out of a Shawn Michaels, and you could have gone a way better match out of Shawn Michaels. Wasn't happening. With a Samoa Joe, you could have put him with a John Cena again. You could have put him with a Randy Orton or a Bray Wyatt.
Or for the love of God, the guy he had the match of the year with in 2016, because they're both on your freaking payroll, Shinsuke Nakamura.
And that match will happen at some point. It will happen.
I know that.
But guess what? This year,
who else is ready
was
to
in the
wrestle?
cards.
Finn Balor, who's not on the show.
This year, it was in the cards.
Stupid.
For him to square off with a McMahon, who's a big name. It's been promoted as the biggest thing on SmackDown. It's going to be a high caliber match at WrestleMania. And you know what? I'm optimistic about it. I think it's going to be a good match.
I mean,
could he have a way better match? Yes, he could have a way better match. Of course he could. Will he have a better match next year at WrestleMania? I think he probably will.
Maybe.
I think he will.
I do. I sure hope so.
I'm not nearly as down on this as you are. I think you take it as an insult, okay? And I don't think it's an insult. I don't think it's an insult.
My big thing is it's not an insult for AJ Styles. It's a slight in the fact that if you really wanted a really good wrestling match on your show, there's a lot of guys that you could have put in there with AJ Styles that would have been a better match.
But that's not the priority. The priority is drawing money. It's not having a really great wrestling match. It's drawing money. And they feel that
ticket sales have been affected by the announcement of this match.
But you're drawing eyes and you're drawing attention. And guess what? It's been your hottest program on SmackDown. It's been what you've been promoting the most.
The hottest program.
That's the idea. That's the idea. That's the idea behind it. Okay, I'm done with this. I understand your frustration. I get it.
Again, I said this on the podcast. Like, I'm not going in. I'm not going in and watching this match super negative. Like, I'm not going in and watching this match going, this isn't going to be good. I'm going in hoping that they entertain me. I'm going in paying for a ticket saying, all right, guys, this is the chips that we were handed. This is where we are. Do the best with what you're given. But on a show like this where I get to talk about my opinion on things, I can finally sit down and say, looking at people, this to me seems stupid because there's so many people that I would have rather had seen a really good wrestling match with. When we see matches across the board, like Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, that's not going to go for a long time. When we see a fatal four-way for a women's championship, that's not going to be that great. As far as how they've booked it so far, and the fact that all four women have been super sloppy in the ring the last month and a half. You have guys like Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose that should have a decent match, but then you have Big Cass and Enzo Amore, Cesaro and Sheamus, and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, which hopefully will exceed my expectations, but again, super sloppy over the last 4 weeks. There is a SmackDown Women's match that's going off of the booking card of who we don't know who's going to be in the match, so we don't know what to expect with women, again, who have been super sloppy. You have Austin Aries and Neville, which like Austin Aries and Neville and Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho that I expect. I have expectations that these matches will be show-stealing matches, really, really good. We have a Memorial Battle Royal that's full of nerds that I honestly could not care less about. We have a tag team match between a boyfriend and a girlfriend and a husband and wife that I really could care nothing less about. We have Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker, which hopefully will be a good match. Hopefully Undertaker's not too injured enough to not have a really good match with him. And we know that The Undertaker usually goes balls out even if he is hurt. So I'm expecting things out of that match as well. But when we get to Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles, I don't have expectations because I would have expected to see another excellent wrestling match on this card when you're having 5.5 hours to have wrestling matches. And they didn't go that route. They went Shane McMahon and AJ Styles for entertainment value and for name recognition of Shane McMahon. So fine, whatever. I'm just saying there are a lot of guys on this roster that they pay good money to be full-time wrestlers like Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura even. These guys could have had better matches with him. That's what I'm saying. I would have rather had seen a really good wrestling match here, but they're not going to execute that. They're going to do Shane versus AJ. So now I'm just going in saying, hey, this is what we have. Entertain me. I'm not going and going, this effing match, throwing my cup in the air and leaving my seat. I'm going to watch this one. The throwing my cup in the air and leaving my seat to go take a piss is the John Cena Nikki Bella match.
What's going to be the best match at WrestleMania? What's going to be the worst match?
The best match at WrestleMania is going to be Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. The worst match on the card is going to either be the Battle Royal or the SmackDown Women's match.
I will say
I probably won't watch Miz and Maurice versus John Cena and Nikki Bella. Honestly, I'll probably get up and go to the bathroom, so I can't tell you if that one's going to be good or not.
I will tell you that the SmackDown Women's Championship match will probably be the worst on the card. Hopefully it's not. I hope they have a real good one. I will say as well that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be the best match of the night. I mean, and Kevin Owens and but that would be the best. Kevin Owens
would be, but yes, it's Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho will be. Oh, poor Sammy.
And don't forget that we get 7 hours because there's a 2-hour kickoff show. We get 7 hours.
You want to talk about someone getting screwed at WrestleMania? Sami Zayn got screwed.
Sami Zayn got giantly screwed.
That is, I'd be way more up in arms about that than about AJ Styles.
And you saw Sami Zayn's promo from Montreal where he said Montreal was his WrestleMania because that crowd treated the main event of Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn as a main event at WrestleMania. They were so hot. I watched the last closing 4 minutes of that match on Twitter, and it was ridiculously explosive and very emotional. Very, very awesome looking for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So, but 7 hours of the New Day as hosts. What do you expect out of this? The New Day are hosts of WrestleMania for 7 hours. How many segments are we going to see the New Day in? And what in the hell are they going to do to make this entertaining for 7 hours?
I'll say 5 segments with them. And I will, well, guess what? The Hardys own the trademark now for Broken Hardy. So your theory could happen, could go down. We'll see. I think they're coming. I'm fairly certain about it. Yes. Anyway, you have any, or are we going to get to the mail call now?
That's WrestleMania, dude. I'm sure we'll have some questions in the mail call about WrestleMania. So let's cue that junk up. Mail call! Of course, mail call presented to you by ProWrestlingTees.com/Wrestle Reaction. 4 shirts, 4 different designs, all for your rocking ability at WrestleMania. Make sure you look out for the promo codes that will be dropping tomorrow for 15% off of those t-shirts, and then you can expedite your shipping. Use that extra money that you saved to expedite your shipping. Get your shirts before WrestleMania. We need 4 of those gone so we can upload as many designs as we want. So get on that, fans. You send us questions, we answer them. You send them to us at the LTG Podcast at gmail.com or at the LTG Podcast on Twitter, at John Alba, at Doug O'Mac, at Wrestle_React, and then, of course, Facebook.com/Wrestle Reaction. That's where you send us questions. Or if you're here with us tonight on this live edition, you can send them to us in the chat and or on Twitter right now at the LTG Podcast. First one comes from Ed. Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, even if it's just a promo with the New Day at the start of the show, where they bring out different legends, because we've seen them do this multiple times.
What if, everyone's talking about Kurt Angle being the new Raw GM.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
What if? I have not
do this, dude.
I have not seen anyone.
You're WWE for life, brother. No matter what sex tape or racist rant you go on.
Ben Teacher, there's your shout out, okay? He keeps tweeting us asking for a shout out. There's your shout out. There you go. You know what? And he gave a theory that Eva Marie's walking away as the champion.
Nope.
For Smack.
Nope.
Woman. Doesn't even have red hair yet.
She just got sober.
Still black hair.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
Yeah, so Hogan there, I would say yes, and I believe that might be a segment with the New Day. To go on with that, Matt from the UK also saying, or will Austin and Rock be there? It's Florida. Rock could easily be there, even though he's super busy. I think Rock could easily do a promo with Hogan, with the New Day. Maybe they split those guys up.
Rock's the one to bring back Hogan. Rock should reintroduce Hogan to the WWE.
Absolutely. Kurt Angle appearing on the show, obviously, for the Hall of Fame stuff with the rest of them when they do the appearances. And Austin, is Austin appearing? Maybe. Michaels?
Yeah, maybe.
I would say Michaels is probably appearing because he is in Florida now, living in Florida, working at the Performance Center. So quite possible that Michaels and The Rock and Hogan get in there and do something. Could that mean you see Nash and Hall and all that, especially with DDP going in? Do we see Jake the Snake Roberts and possibly? Timothy Paul Smith on the Twitter machine asks us this: will Bray Wyatt continue to be WWE champion after WrestleMania?
I think he'll
we're
get
both saying that he'll get the title back, but we both believe that Randy Orton wins at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And how long will WWE hold off getting AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw? Let's see. The draft was in July. Do they hold a draft earlier than that this year to get things fresh after WrestleMania? Maybe. But if they continue to do things the way they've been continuing to do things, then maybe it's July again. And that's if they even move him over.
I'll say it'll be in May.
You're saying May.
I'll say in May. That's when the draft is.
How about this? This is a throwback to WrestleMania 13. Jesus asks, I was watching Money in the Bank 2013. Do you think Mark Henry should have won the title? I was there. So he was there live, and the crowd was so hot for that match.
I was there live as well.
Yes, you were.
And that match was great. I thought that match was critically underrated for that year. And that was the best match I've ever seen Mark Henry wrestle. And there was a spot in that match where, well, first off, I got to say the entrances. I mean, Mark Henry blew the roof off that place for his entrance. This is when Henry was coming off the retirement angle, keep in mind.
Yes, sir! Somebody gonna get the ass kicked.
You think it's that easy? I got plenty left in the tank.
So great. What a fantastic promo.
There's a spot in that match where Cena comes off the top going for the crossbody, and Henry catches him into the world's strongest slam. And, you know, you knew he wasn't winning because everyone knew they were leading towards Bryan and Cena for the title at SummerSlam. But, oh, man, that moment when he puts him down for the pin, that whole place was ready to go nuts. Should he have won? No, because they were... Should he have won? No. They were going towards Cena and Bryan, but
right,
it was awesome. And then Henry actually turned face the next night, but they never did anything with it because he got hurt.
Yeah, and then he's not done much since. So
no,
that was a fantastic rebranding of Mark Henry, and then he got hurt and lost a lot of weight, but just didn't recapture that heat. I'm with you though. I don't think he should have won that match. Jason asks, between Takeover and WrestleMania, what match do you believe will steal the show of the weekend? Obviously, people argued that Nakamura versus Zayn stole the show last year, and that was an NXT program. That was an NXT show. So, what match on both shows, but across both shows, do we think takes the cake when it comes to best match of the weekend?
I mean,
it's a bold prediction.
If we're talking about stealing the show,
yeah,
I think the triple threat elimination tag at TakeOver has a good chance of doing that. I think Rude and Nakamura will be great. I don't think it's going to be show stealing. If what I saw of Neville's and Aries is any indication, theirs won't steal the show, but I hope they were just holding off a little bit and they're going to really whip it out for Mania. And I think Jericho and Owens will be amazing. I don't know if it's going to... I mean, it depends on what your criteria is, too, you know?
What's your thought about stealing the show? Like, best wrestling match or the match that everyone's talking about when the weekend is over?
Exactly.
That's two different things.
The match that everyone's going to be talking about will probably be Jericho and Owens. At least I hope it is. But
I hope it is, too.
You know, in terms of excitement and athleticism and, you know, in-match storytelling, it very well could be that triple threat tag match.
If I have to pick a bold prediction here, it's the match that I'm going in just thinking, hey, entertain me. AJ Styles could pull out one of the most show-stealing bouts with Shane McMahon at this pay-per-view. And if that's the case, that could be the match that everyone's talking about the next night. So,
hope so.
We'll see what happens there.
What if Goldberg and Lesnar is just unlike anything we've ever seen before and is so awesome?
I doubt it, but it could. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either, but what if it is? That'd be pretty awesome.
Then that's the one we'll be talking about, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. Do you think Finn Balor will be Universal Champion again this year? If the whole plan is to have Lesnar hold it through WrestleMania, then no.
But as we mentioned on the podcast last week, he could lose it and then win it back still.
Yep.
I will say
Balor is due a return match. So
I will say no, though.
yeah, I'm gonna have to say no now too. This is a different landscape, especially with Lesnar holding the title already past WrestleMania. Who do you see having special interests this year, either NXT or WrestleMania? I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that the Undertaker is gonna have a special entrance.
Yeah,
Always does.
Triple H
Always does. It'd be really cool to see a Kingslayer entrance from Seth Rollins, even though this is going to be a street fight, basically. So that's going to be weird. I mean, honestly, Nikki Bella and John Cena could have a special entrance.
If there's
Or Miz
anyone,
and Maurice, you never know.
if there's anyone deserving of it this year, it's AJ Styles. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Neville could have some kind of King-themed thing.
They want to try to care about the. That would be a good idea.
If they want to do something with Bray Wyatt again, another special entrance like we got 3 years ago, that would be pretty cool. He is champion going into this main event match, so that would be pretty sick. Big Goldberg always has a special entrance no matter what show it's on, so that's going to happen. We'll see if we get a security team surrounding him like we did at Royal Rumble.
Dark out, like fully dark for that Wyatt and Orton match.
Yeah, we can't go which means it's gonna have to be after 9. So it can't be the Scarecrow in the daylight thing again. And it's the same thing with Taker and Roman. Like they need to hold both of those matches off until after 9 o'clock, which I believe that they already have that thought process going. Even though they didn't do that at 31, but that was a lot longer of a daylight savings issued over in California, which is 3 hours ahead of or behind Florida. Honestly, at NXT, the glorious entrance is on every takeover has had a special entrance. So I think that Bobby Roode, maybe possibly both Nakamura and Bobby Roode get special entrances there. And I would say that Asuka and Ember Moon might have special things up their sleeves. And that's probably it for NXT.
I like this one from Ty. If you could change the decision or the winner of any WrestleMania main event, what match would it be and why?
You going Rock and Austin from 17?
I mean, I don't hate the heel turn. I just hate the circumstances because there was no chance in hell, no pun intended, that he was getting booed in Texas.
Right.
You know, somewhere else you do it, he might get booed a little bit. In Texas, it wasn't happening. You know, I look at Triple H and Sting, obviously. I would have loved to have seen Sting win that match. Going back through, I mean, obviously you could talk about Yokozuna and Brett and Hogan walking away with that.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah.
What, any come to your mind?
I mean, obviously the Rock and Austin deal. One of the biggest ones for me would have to be the Undertaker streak. I've said this 1,000 times. I believe CM Punk versus the Undertaker could have gone different if they were going to do something like that. Would have been fantastic to see. Streak versus title between CM Punk and Undertaker as a main event, as the actual main event, and to see even if it was Taker winning the title and the streak being intact, or CM Punk being the one to dethrone the Undertaker. Say what you will about CM Punk, because a lot of people have mixed feelings on the guy now. But for me, if I would have had to change the finish of any Mania match on top of everything, I would not have had Brock Lesnar beat the Undertaker. Well, the Undertaker's concussed. Obviously, you can't control that. But I would not have had the streak get beaten at WrestleMania 30 when you still had tons of stuff to go after that. Now, whether or not that's he loses the streak to CM Punk the year before, or he never lost it at all, I think that's one of the ones I would have changed. And our last question is this. What can WWE do on Raw and SmackDown this week to better sell and create an atmosphere of excitement for WrestleMania 33?
Who's that come from?
It comes from Ed.
I guess on the Raw end, I mean, Goldberg and Lesnar have to have a real hot angle. Roman and Taker need a really hot angle. We're going to get a good angle between Triple H and Seth Rollins. You know, to me, there's got to be more purpose between Roman Reigns and The Undertaker.
Yeah, I said that earlier. I mean, I think that's the biggest one for me. I need an Undertaker promo segment.
Yeah, which I don't think is out of the realm.
I need a rebuttal.
And then
I think another hot Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton segment will be good. Give me fresh angles. Like, give me fresh stuff. Like, make it exciting. Don't just go on cruise control like you had the last 2 weeks outside of the AJ Styles, Shane McMahon stuff, because that was the last program that they really had to build. Don't include the Usos and American Alpha, because that's built itself after these matches have taken place and there was a change in the guard as far as who owns the championships, because that's probably going to be a freaking kickoff match. I honestly, like, I need more excitement. Like, I need more open-ended things that make me want to see WrestleMania. Show me that. Don't show me the same stuff that you've shown me for the last 4 weeks just on cruise control without any kind of urgency. I need urgency. I'm going to use that one word, urgency.
And that does it for the mail call. Make sure you tweet at us every single week at Wrestle_React, at the LTG Podcast, at John Alba, at Doug O'Mac, and email us at the LTG Podcast at gmail.com. Hashtag mail call season 2. Can you believe that we're not that long from season 2 being over and moving on to season 3?
I know, right?
Isn't that insane?
Time flies, my friend.
We're almost at episode 100.
And what in the world?
Syndication, baby. Syndication.
That magical 100. You can't get rid of us at that point. Unless John gets a job elsewhere.
What are you talking about?
Just saying. Some people have job opportunities ahead of them. You never know.
Know your role and shut your mouth. Anyway. Don't forget, check out ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestleReaction. Get your t-shirts now. Big sale coming up this week. Get 15% off these sick t-shirts. Sported at WrestleMania. It's time for the top 5.
Buy the shirts!
Top 5.
The top 5 is presented to you by Squared Circle Entertainment, Facebook's go-to destination for all sports entertainment-related discussions. Just search Squared Circle Entertainment on Facebook and request your membership today. Soma is rolling with us at Wale Mania from Squared Circle Entertainment. You get the ins. That's what happens. Let's do it. Top 5 things you're most looking forward to WrestleMania weekend, Doug. You want to start, or do you want me to start?
I'll go. My number 5 is exactly that, Wale Mania. You and I are going to be there doing some interviews with some of the top names in the wrestling industry. Lots of talent that'll be there. Some that haven't even disclosed whether or not they're going to be there, because they're going to be probably under contract with WWE and cannot be listed as superstars that are attending the event. But there are some like Adam Cole and some Ring of Honor guys. I'm sure Kenny Omega is going to be in the house. You got to think Cody Rhodes will be there. There's lots of people that have already been announced. Then you've got analysts such as the king of the dirt sheets, Dave Meltzer, will be there. I'm sure we'll get something with Dave. JR, who lost his wife last week, but is still going to be fulfilling every WrestleMania appearance that he had scheduled, because he feels like he needs that as a way to get past everything that's been going on and to move forward. Like, that's awesome. So we'll definitely be seeing JR. Court Bauer of the MLW network, and a lot of guys that are from that. The Bruce Pritchard, Conrad Thompson duo will also be there. Be cool if Tony Schiavone shows up, but he is not listed right now as of today. And then there's just a bunch of other people that'll be there as far as talent goes, that I'm looking forward to mixing up, getting some interviews for you guys, because you're the reason that we do this. And the fact that they hooked us up and said, hey, yeah, come on, bring your equipment, let's do some interviews, is cool for us. So we're going to have some exclusive stuff for you guys to be listening to and watching on the Wrestle Reaction YouTube page, at Wrestle Reaction on YouTube. And of course, there's a lot to be looking forward to at that event, as far as who we're going to be hooking up with and getting some stuff going with. So
Yes, indeed. My number 5. It's no secret here. I've got a man crush for Josh Eisenberg. And Josh Eisenberg, this is a shout out to you. Your boy's coming. And Orlando's about to get a whole lot better looking, buddy. There you go. Josh Eisenberg, on a serious question, we love hanging out with the serious note, I should say. We love hanging out with the CSR guys, Justin LeBar, Josh Eisenberg, and a lot of the other wrestling personalities from the editorial side that will be there as well, like the Dave Meltzers and all that stuff. We love hanging out with them, and we cannot wait to be chilling down there in Orlando with all of those folks, some great wrestling minds down there. What's your
Yes, and hang on, let me see if I can't make sure I plug this correctly for these guys.
Go ahead.
As I plug Wally Mania, we also need to plug the event coming up for
CSR,
where the four of us from Wrestle Reaction will also be in house for that. So if you're planning on attending, please do so. You can see Josh Eisenberg, Justin LeBar, the rest of the crew, and us. Not to mention your favorite tranny calling superstar, guy that calls you a transvestite just about every time that he sees you. Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn, will be appearing at the event as well from 1 to 3 p.m. the day of Mania, right before the show. It'll be $10 for the meet and greet and to get in and everything else. So you can even win SmackDown Live tickets for the event that will be happening on Tuesday night there. That is at the Wing Shack Sports Bar in Orlando from 1 to 3 before WrestleMania gets started. So make sure you go hang out with Chairshot Reality, and of course we'll be there as well.
You just reminded me, probably going to be I'm probably going to be subjected to harassment, so
more than likely.
So there you go, folks. There's more incentive for you to head over there. What's your 4?
Should be interesting. My 4 is NXT Takeover in itself. Not the most exciting card as far as what they've booked because the show just hasn't been that great. But I do expect good matches. At least 2, if not 3, of the matches that are billed are going to be really, really good. I'm really looking forward to the tag team match. I'm looking forward to the women's match because Ember Moon has been protected so well going into this match with Asuka. And her finish is sick. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke Nakamura should be an event itself. So I'm looking forward to NXT TakeOver Orlando.
Number 4 for me, the weather. You see, I live in Bangor, Maine.
I gotta give you a little bit of that. Someone up north is wanting the southern weather.
I live in Bangor, Maine. It's been miserable.
Bangor, hardly knew her.
For the past few weeks, they've been calling for snow on the day I leave. Thankfully, it appears I'll be okay. But they are calling for some snow throughout the week. So yeah, I'm excited to be in the high 80s, low 90s. I'm very excited for that. And I'm sure that a lot of people going to Florida, when they found out it was going to be in Orlando, they said to themselves, finally, some nice weather.
I'm going to say the opposite.
Yeah, I know you are.
My wife and I are going to go, God, my wife has already said that she's stressed out about the fact that she's going to sweat her ass off
I can't wait.
pay-per-view on this weekend because we frequent Orlando a good bit. We're Disney annual pass holders. We like that kind of stuff. So we go down to Orlando a good bit. If you haven't seen pictures of that already on social media, if you don't follow us there, then you don't know, but there's plenty of evidence that we do this. And the best time of the year for us to go to Orlando is January. We just went at the end of January. It was like mid 60s, high 50s the whole time, shorts and a hoodie, super comfortable, not sweating. I mean, if you're at Disney, you're walking like 6 or 7 miles across the entire park over the span of 9 hours. So you don't want to get nasty. We've gone in September before, and it is high 80s, mid 90s, and 100% humidity. And the minute you walk outside, you're soaking wet. And I'm afraid that is about to be what's going to be the case. Here's the deal. I'm a big man. All right.
You are.
Big man. There's no way I'm not going to be soaking wet this entire time.
Take a scooter.
I'm not an out of shape man. I'm just a big guy.
Oh,
Like
Frank,
I walk 1.5 miles a day with my dog. That's not an issue. Cardio is not an issue for me.
Frank's
I
got
don't have a problem. I don't have a problem walking. The issue is as soon as I step outside as a big man, the sweat. I'm sweating now, sitting here talking to you.
Well,
A mat in a house that's reading 74 degrees. You get me outside 88 and 90. There's no telling. If you see me during WrestleMania weekend, chances are I might have a towel in my back pocket and I might be wiping sweat every single time I see you.
Listen, I store water in my
hate
Adam's
being hot.
apple. I store water in my Adam's apple like a camel does. Okay, if you need any hydration, I got you.
Suck your apple? That's gross.
That's. I think there were some
Talk to Billy
videos.
Gunn. Talk to Billy
There's
Gunn
some,
about
there's some videos that leaked or something about that. Anyway, what's your 3?
that. I stored the water from your Adam's apple on a championship belt. That's what happened. My number 3 has to be meeting all of you fans. Honestly, the fact that we've gotten such an overwhelming response, people buying their shirts, people saying that they're going to be in Orlando wanting to hang out with us and get together and hang out. And like, we're going to be going to Disney a few days while we're there, all of us. It's going to be a great time. We get to hang out with guys like Corey that are longtime listeners and watchers of Wrestle Reaction and the LTG podcast. So that's cool. He hooked us up. Awesome. So getting to hang out with you guys, like I remember, 3 years ago in New Orleans, we met a lot of people that were talking about the fact that they watch us every week, and we see your emails, we see your tweets, we see all the messages on social media and stuff about how you guys love the show. It's the only reason that we do the show still. And the fact that we get to rub shoulders and actually shake hands and actually have face-to-face conversations instead of through digital media is a good thing. So I'm excited to be hanging out with a lot of the fans. Just watch yourself.
That's true. And Drew Goldfinger too just tweeted at us. He's stoked. Yeah, absolutely, man. My number 3 is the coverage we're going to get to do. I cannot wait for this. I've been very much looking forward to this very, very long time. And you mentioned Wally Mania. We'll be at the Pritchard show as well, you and I. Cannot wait. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And, not sure yet who we're going to interview, who we're going to speak with, but there'll be recap videos, like you said, and it's going to be very fun. And you'll get to see John Alba, the sportscaster, in action. So, a side that not many of you have seen. So,
unless they follow you on social media and they've seen some of the stuff that you do.
My favorite part is there's a school here from a town called Ellsworth. So I tweet about Ellsworth all the time, and all wrestling Twitter is always tweeting at me about James Ellsworth whenever I go, all the time. So people start tweeting, they'll be like, he's talking about high school.
Oh, he's actually being a sportscaster now, not a wrestling guy. I get it. My number 2 has to be the WrestleMania card.
Correct.
Just the event itself. WrestleMania is always an event, no matter. I mean, it's gonna be a long, long day. But the fact that the whole Sunday atmosphere, we're gonna get up, we're gonna eat some breakfast, we're gonna go hang out with the CSR guys, get some beverages and hang out, and then we're gonna go see this event, which almost always entertains, at least for the most part. So I'm excited for the event itself. No matter what matches are being broadcast, WrestleMania usually gives you something to watch as a live event goer. There's a reason why these tickets start selling out almost immediately once they go on sale with the card not even announced. It's WrestleMania. It's a facet of Americana. It's an event that you always want to go to at least once in your lifetime. So I'm excited for the event and Sunday itself.
That's my number 2 as well. You pretty much hit on there. This will be my 3rd WrestleMania. What number will this be for you?
Number 2 live.
This will be number 2 live for you.
Yep.
Wow, 30 was number 1 for you, huh?
30 was number 1 for me. I mean, as many years as I've watched this thing, I've never forked out the money to go. And then my wife said in New Orleans, hey, let's go to New Orleans and let that be our anniversary trip, because we always take an anniversary trip. She was like, I want to go. Everybody says it's like a NASCAR race. At least you got to go to one in your lifetime, even though I've never been to a NASCAR race because I hate NASCAR. Sorry for fans that offends. I don't get it. It's a Sunday nap noise for me. So whatever. If I am going to take a nap on Sunday, I'm putting on golf or NASCAR because that's what's probably going to put me to sleep really, really fast.
The sports crapping.
But the event aspect of it, everybody says you need to go to at least once in your life. So 30 was it for us. We had never gone, and something that I'd always wanted to go to. I was about to go in Atlanta, and I had a health concern, so I did not go to the one in Atlanta. And so New Orleans was the first one. This is the second.
Saved yourself some money there.
Well, no, I didn't because I went through the health concern.
That's true. Number one, what do you got?
Hanging out with you guys. So the big thing is, past the event, just the camaraderie that we have as four dudes and our wives and friends that we get to see that we don't get to see all the time. John and I are basically second wives to each other because I probably talk to John throughout the day more than I talk to my wife at this point. And that goes for Frank and JT as well. We've been in the trenches running a website together, and we were the most it's just like we have a lot of things that we've done together that we don't get to see each other as much. And the fact that we get to spend almost an entire week going to Disney, going and hanging out and getting some interviews done with all these people, getting to go to all these different events and stuff together is always the best part of a trip like this, is the guys and the girls that you're doing it with. So that is my number one thing, just being able to go have a vacation with dudes that I rarely get to see, but always have a good time when I'm seeing them.
This is my first extended vacation in 7 years. So I am very much looking forward.
You trained often.
7 years. And I cannot wait. This is my number one, to see you guys as well. I'm including the fans in this. I'm including some of my college buddies who I haven't seen in years. I mean, a ton of people I know will be down in Orlando. That's what's getting me through this. I can't even tell you. I'm someone who works 65, 70 hours a week, and having a chance to decompress for 6 days is more than anything else what I value the most and actually enjoy it. So I cannot wait. I'll be accepting free back massages in Orlando if anyone wants to offer them up, because I need it.
Well, Jules, the funny thing about my back is that it's located. Anybody that knows Superbad can finish that quote yourself. That's what John's really saying. He'll have a bottle of barefoot wine for you. He has a queen size bed to himself. It's gonna be a fun time.
I'll even let you stroke my Emmy, and my Emmy is not a trophy. Nice. But anyway, by the way, Ty, shout out to us from his question. He said he would have picked Booker T at WrestleMania 19 or Orton at WrestleMania 25.
Booker T's a good one.
Yeah. Booker T should have won that match for sure.
Absolutely.
Doug, any final thoughts before we head to WrestleMania?
It's WrestleMania week, which means excitement. Mainly about the vacation. Not so much about the show yet, because they need to give me a little more something, maybe a little bit more urgency is what I was talking about. But hey, you're listening to this either on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it is, and maybe you've already seen the shows. Hopefully we get a little bit something extra to give us a little bit more of that urgency, and there's nothing for me to complain about right now. And you might know more than me, but Monday morning at 4 a.m., my wife and I head out to Orlando, and it should be a blasty blast. And that, my friend, is what I'm looking forward to.
And if you're not looking forward to it, then we got one thing to say to you.
Longest podcast ever.
Hogan, you can go to hell. We're out of here.
And that it was the longest podcast ever, indeed.
Maybe not ever in the history of the internet.
That is our longest episode of Living the Gimmick.
Absolutely the longest show for us ever. Lots of stuff.
How about
in there,
that, folks?
And it was a surprise to you, and you joined us. A big number of you joined us, which is awesome. Very surprised.
It was Bigly.
You know what it is.
Guys, if you're heading down to WrestleMania, hit us up. We want to meet you. It will be our privilege to meet you because you listen, you give us so much love. We want to return the favor. Doug might kiss you.
That won't happen. Okay. Even though, hey, greet each other and leave each other with holy kisses. I just won't do it. I don't know you that well. maybe you can sound freaking JT, but not you guys.
More importantly, you can see in person that Doug has no ass. And that is really what your big takeaway can be.
That is true. Sexy man right here. No acetol disease. The entire, no matter if I'm jacked like I was 10 years ago or if I'm fat now. It doesn't matter. Just no ass.
The back ass.
Never had
All right, folks. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, and we will see you in Orlando.